Just started university, and my beautiful tutor turns out to be the mother of my child. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1501-520 Happy. An hour passed by while they were chatting. Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi also returned to the city. It happened to be the rush hour after get off work, so there was a little traffic jam. While waiting for the traffic light, Lin Feng pretended to pick up his phone and took a look, then sent a message to his assistant. Informed them that he had brought Zhang Yuxi back and would be home in about 10 minutes. Honey, the light is green. Zhang Yuxi reminded. Lin Feng quickly put his phone aside and continued driving. What's wrong? Is there something at the company that needs to be dealt with? Zhang Yuxi continued to ask. She didn't know that Lin Feng had arranged a surprise for her, and thought that Lin Feng was dealing with company matters. Yes. It's a little thing, nothing. I just took a look and will deal with it later. Lin Feng said lightly. It's a little congested at this point. But I'm going home. Zhang Yuxi said. Well, there's nothing I can do during the rush hour after get off work. Lin Feng responded absent-mindedly. Because now he just wanted to take Zhang Yuxi home as soon as possible and have a candlelight dinner together. After driving for a while, they finally got home. Lin Feng parked the car and took the opportunity to send a message. Inform them that he was home. Then the assistant took everyone away from the scene, and the candlelight dinner was just set. Wife, wait a minute. Lin Feng said. Then he took out a tape from his pocket and planned to blindfold Zhang Yuxi's eyes. Huh? What are you doing, husband? Why do you want to blindfold your eyes? Zhang Yuxi said in confusion. Listen to me. I'll take you away. Lin Feng said. What? Mysterious. Zhang Yuxi said. Then, Lin Feng supported Zhang Yuxi and walked into the house step by step. Wife, are you ready? Lin Feng said with a doting face. Zhang Yuxi immediately nodded and indicated. Then Lin Feng took off the tape tied around Zhang Yuxi's eyes. Ding ding ding. Wife, happy holidays. Lin Feng smiled and said. Wow. So beautiful. Hubby, this. Zhang Yuxi said in disbelief. Tears welled up in her eyes. She was really touched by Lin Feng's efforts. Wife, do you like it? Lin Feng said. Yes. So where are mom and dad? Zhang Yuxi said. Ha ha ha. Mom is just cooperating with me. This is the surprise I prepared for you today. Lin Feng smiled and said. You lied, but since you are so attentive, I forgive you. Zhang Yuxi said. Wife, please sit down. Lin Feng helped pull out a chair for Zhang Yuxi to sit down. This is a romantic world for two. Candlelight dinner. Lin Feng said with a doting look on his face. Woo woo woo, hubby. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Zhang Yuxi said coquettishly. It turned out that Lin Feng sent her away today to do what she wanted to do, to visit the elderly in the nursing home, and then in order to get her to come back, he could only use mom and dad as an excuse. And she had forgotten that today was 520, but after being with her, Lin Feng attached great importance to the sense of ceremony. Sometimes she might forget it, but Lin Feng remembered it clearly. In Lin Feng's view, although being with Zhang Yuxi every day is like celebrating a festival, the sense of ceremony should still be there, and he should accompany other girls twice as much as they can. Because Zhang Yuxi deserves it. Silly, I love you more. Lin Feng said gently. Wait, I'm going to take a picture first. Such a good moment, of course, I have to take a picture to record it. Zhang Yuxi immediately said excitedly. Wife, wait a minute. Don't move. Lin Feng said. Then he walked away, and Zhang Yuxi sat obediently and motionless. Then Lin Feng came over with a bouquet of flowers and a gift bag in his other hand. Wife, this is a gift. Happy 520, I love you. Lin Feng said with a deep look on his face. Thank you, husband, you prepared the festival for me so carefully. I love you. Zhang Yuxi said with tears in her eyes. Silly, it's my duty. Hurry up and take a look at the gift. Do you like it? Lin Feng said dotingly. Yes, I like all the gifts you give me. Zhang Yuxi said immediately. Haha, silly wife, you haven't even looked at it yet. Lin Feng smiled and said. Then Zhang Yuxi slowly opened the gift and took a look. Dior X Air Jordan couple's joint high-top shoes are one of the hottest and most expensive sneakers of the year. Various internet celebrities have worn them. Just looking at the box of this shoe has made my heart beat 1,000 times. This shoe is a combination of white and Morandi gray, with a Dior pattern swoosh. It is very recognizable, and its luxurious identity is highlighted. The sole is a blue transparent sole with exquisite details. Many people can hardly buy it even if they have money. They must spend a certain amount of money on Dior online before they are allowed to buy it. And the price of this pair of shoes has risen to about 250,000. Lin Feng was able to buy it through his connections, but it was worth it as a gift to Zhang Yuxi. Horizontal ellipsis. Puff. This. Zhang Yuxi couldn't help laughing when she saw it after opening it. What's wrong, wife? Don't you like it? Lin Feng said quickly. Hubby, wait a minute. Zhang Yuxi said. Then she ran to the cloakroom and took out a bag. Hubby, this is a gift I prepared for you. Take a look. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. Lin Feng took the gift and opened it to take a look. Ha 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 ha. Really, what tacit understanding. Lin Feng also laughed. It turned out that the gift Zhang Yuxi prepared for him was exactly the same as the gift he prepared for Zhang Yuxi. They were both the same shoes. No wonder Zhang Yuxi couldn't help laughing when she first saw the gift Lin Feng gave her. Right, exactly the same. It's amazing, this tacit understanding. Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. When he originally planned to buy this pair of shoes, it was because they were particularly popular, and it could be said to be one of the most popular of the year. Although he had given Lin Feng a lot of sneakers before, and Lin Feng was also very good at basketball, he just played less now because of various work reasons. But Raymond Lam has always collected many kinds of sneakers, and Zhang Yuxi also gave him many co-branded sneakers after they got together. She originally planned to give him a gift during the holidays, but she has been busy recently and Zhang Yuxi forgot that today is a holiday. Raymond Lam's gift just happened to remind her, so she also prepared a gift for Raymond Lam. As a result, the two of them bumped into each other perfectly. Chapter 1502 Candlelight Dinner. Thank you, honey. Most of the sneakers in the collection cabinet were bought by my wife. Love you. Lin Feng said mischievously. The best edge this year. We can actually buy the same pair of shoes for each other, and the other party has no idea. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. This is the tacit understanding between her and Lin Feng. It just happens to be a couple style again. Lin Feng said. In fact, since he and Zhang Yuxi have been together, the two have a lot of couple styles, including clothes, pants, and shoes. Many of them were also carefully selected by Zhang Yuxi. Honey, eat quickly. A candlelight dinner for the two of us. If we talk any more, our food will get cold. Let's eat while we talk. Lin Feng said gently. Yes. Come on, cheers, Zhang Yuxi said playfully. Because of this matter, I almost forgot to eat. Ah, honey, I forgot to take pictures. Zhang Yuxi said. Okay, you take pictures. Honey, stand over there, I'll take pictures for you. Lin Feng smiled and said. He knows what girls are thinking, and they always want to record their current state. We will take photos together. I will develop the photos in the future. These are all our memories. Zhang Yuxi said happily. Yes, listen to my wife. Lin Feng said. Then, Lin Feng kept helping Zhang Yuxi take photos. Time passed by minute, and it was already 7:30. Wife, come and eat. Dinner is cold. Lin Feng said. Okay, come. Right away. Zhang Yuxi said excitedly. Only then did Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi sit down to have dinner together. After dinner, Lin Feng cleaned the table and washed the dishes. Zhang Yuxi was in the living room admiring the scene that Lin Feng had arranged for her today. Every place was carefully thought out. They were all arranged according to her favorite style. How is it? Wife, are you satisfied today? Lin Feng asked after coming out of the kitchen. Yes, very satisfied. My husband is still as attentive as always. Zhang Yuxi said happily. I'm happy if you're happy. It's okay to spend a little more time on it as long as it makes my wife happy. Lin Feng said slowly. Thank you, husband. Love you. Zhang Yuxi said playfully. Hey, how much do you love me? Lin Feng said deliberately jokingly. Well, I can't estimate. Anyway, I love you very much, very much. Zhang Yuxi said. Then we'll be together in the next life. I'll find you in the next life. Lin Feng said. Ha 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 ha. Here we go again. I've heard my husband say these words many times. Zhang Yuxi said with a big laugh. I'll keep saying it. You can only be mine. Lin Feng said domineeringly and arrogantly. I know, idiot. You too. You can only be mine. Zhang Yuxi said. If someone really appeared one day to snatch Lin Feng from her, she would definitely snatch him away without hesitation. There would be no mercy. Maybe in the eyes of others, she is a very sensible, gentle and kind girl, but Lin Feng is her bottom line. If other girls are ungrateful and violate her bottom line, she can also stand up and face it bravely. She loves Raymond Lam just as Raymond Lam loves her. Nothing can take him away. Although she believes that Raymond Lam will love her as always, she will also love Raymond Lam as always. However, there is still so much time left, and no one knows what will happen in the future. Maybe anything can happen. But Zhang Yuxi will never let anyone who dares to provoke Raymond Lam go easily. She is very clear about this and very determined. Wife, I'm quite curious about what you look like when you are fierce. Ha ha ha. Raymond Lam laughed. Because since he and Zhang Yuxi have been together, he has never seen Zhang Yuxi look fierce. Although there are occasional small tempers and small quarrels, Zhang Yuxi has never looked particularly fierce. Because there will be some small conflicts between lovers, but strangely, he and Zhang Yuxi have basically never had any conflicts. The two are very harmonious, because every time Raymond Lam will give in to Zhang Yuxi and love her very much, Lin Feng simply couldn't bear to let Zhang Yuxi suffer a little grievance. So after going on like this, there was no conflict between him and Zhang Yuxi. What's more, Zhang Yuxi is a very generous, sensible and gentle girl. After being with Lin Feng, she also took good care of Lin Feng. She also gave Lin Feng enough face outside. After all, for men, face is still very important. And Zhang Yuxi would not care too much about Lin Feng because of a little thing. Although the two occasionally quarreled in daily life, they were all joking, and neither Lin Feng nor Zhang Yuxi took it seriously. Naturally, the two people avoided a lot of conflicts when they got along. In fact, the most important thing is that Lin Feng loves Zhang Yuxi, and Zhang Yuxi also loves Lin Feng. Two people who really love each other will always see each other's shining points in their eyes and tolerate each other's shortcomings. Of course, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi are both very perfect people. They are particularly excellent in all aspects, so naturally they can't see their shortcomings in each other's eyes. In everyone's eyes, the two of them are model lovers and the objects of everyone's envy. Just like a popular saying is, the whole world owes me a Lin Feng. And the whole world owes Zhang Yuxi, who is like a dream lover of boys. Zhang Yuxi couldn't help laughing after hearing what Lin Feng said. Oh, is it like this? Zhang Yuxi said playfully with a grin. Ha 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 ha. This is cute, not fierce at all. Lin Feng was amused by Zhang Yuxi's cute behavior. Then, what does that look like? You make me angry, and I'll be fierce to you if you make me angry. Zhang Yuxi said. That's probably impossible. How can I make my wife angry? Lin Feng smiled and said. After all, he has never made Zhang Yuxi angry in such a long time together. And how could he bear to make Zhang Yuxi angry? He was so distressed that he didn't have time to do it. Then I'll pretend to be angry in front of your brothers next time. Let's see how they react. Zhang Yuxi said mischievously. They shouldn't believe it. Or they think I made a big mistake to make you angry. Lin Feng said. Because his roommates and brothers all know what kind of girl Zhang Yuxi is. Zhang Yuxi was famous for her good temper and gentleness. It was impossible for Zhang Yuxi to get angry or fierce. Otherwise, something terrible must have happened. Zhang Yuxi might get angry at people with bad intentions, but she never did that to Lin Feng. Therefore, if Lin Feng's brothers saw Zhang Yuxi being fierce to Lin Feng, the probability was almost zero. If Zhang Yuxi really pretended to be angry, they probably wouldn't believe it. They might just think that Lin Feng had done something wrong to make Zhang Yuxi like this. Chapter 1503 Perfect Boyfriend. Let's act more realistically. Maybe they won't believe it at first, but they will probably believe it if we continue. Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. Ha ha ha. They are probably panicking and don't dare to mess with me. Let's go to school tomorrow and give it a try. Lin Feng also said excitedly. We are two childish guys. But it's fun to see how they react. Zhang Yuxi said mischievously. Indeed, when two people are together, they will have some strange thoughts and actions. Even if they do some childish things, they will feel very happy. Because I love you, I am willing to be childish. I will only become childish in front of the person I love. For example, me, right, my wife. I am more serious in front of outsiders. Lin Feng said with a proud face. For a long time, Lin Feng has been a very cold person in the eyes of other girls. He will draw a clear line with other girls and never cross the line. This is also a respect for Zhang Yuxi and a sense of security for her. And Lin Feng is also a very serious and solemn person in front of his friends. Even if he occasionally jokes with them in private, because Lin Feng's aura is too strong, his roommates and brothers are afraid of him and respect this boss very much. After all, in everyone's eyes, Lin Feng is still a very capable leader. Everyone is very convinced of him and has a certain authority. But he is sometimes naughty like a child in front of Zhang Yuxi, and he can also protect Zhang Yuxi like a man. He is a warm man next to Zhang Yuxi, and all his warm side is given to Zhang Yuxi. This is the performance of loving someone. Yes, sometimes my husband is a little cute. Especially naughty. Zhang Yuxi said. Shouldn't I be very handsome? Why are you naughty again? Lin Feng said with a proud face. Hey, narcissistic ghost. I didn't say you are not handsome. It's just that you are handsome and cute. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. I am confident, not narcissistic. I am cute because of my wife. Only my wife can make me cute. Lin Feng said with a smile. Sweet talk. You've said all the sweet words. Zhang Yuxi complained. I'm telling the truth, okay? I always speak the truth to my wife, not a single lie. Lin Feng said. Oh, you just lied to me today. You even used your mother as a shield. Isn't that a lie? Zhang Yuxi said proudly. Oh, my wife, it's different today. I have no choice. I have to resort to this desperate measure to make you believe me. You forget about it. Lin Feng explained. Ha 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 ha. So you still lied. Then the sentence I said before doesn't count. Zhang Yuxi said deliberately jokingly. In fact, Zhang Yuxi knew what kind of person Lin Feng was. He never dared to lie to Zhang Yuxi, and what he said was what he thought in his heart. Today's incident was also because he wanted to give her a surprise, so he had no choice but to ask his mother to help. In the final analysis, it was a white lie. To be precise, it was not a lie. What happened today doesn't count. Wife, forget about it quickly. Just remember the surprise I prepared for you. Lin Feng said. Oh, I know. Since you prepared the surprise so carefully. I've forgotten. Did you lie today? Zhang Yuxi said mischievously. No, I didn't. Wife is the most important. Don't lie. Lin Feng also said deliberately and jokingly. Zhang Yuxi looked at Lin Feng's naughty look and laughed unconsciously. Okay, I'm so full. Your stomach is so full. Zhang Yuxi touched her stomach and said. I'll wash some fruit for you to eat. Lin Feng said. Look at my stomach, it's so bulging, how can I eat more? Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. Wife, are you pregnant? How many months? Lin Feng said deliberately and jokingly. Ha 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 5 months. Zhang Yuxi said with a big laugh. Then I hope it's a girl. I like daughters. Zhang Yuxi said. You can't be picky. Both daughters and sons are good. Zhang Yuxi said. No, I still want a daughter. As beautiful as you. She has to pass my test before she can find a boyfriend. Give the best things to my daughter. Lin Feng said. So you are a daughter slave. Now we are talking about her finding a boyfriend. That is a distant thing in the future. Besides, what if you don't like what your daughter likes? Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. That won't work. She has to pass my test. After all, Dad is very accurate in judging people. She has to find someone who loves her and treats her well like me. Lin Feng said seriously. In fact, he has always hoped that he can have a daughter with Zhang Yuxi in the future, because he really likes daughters, and she will definitely be as beautiful as Zhang Yuxi. After all, her mother is so beautiful, her daughter will not be much worse. He thinks that he will definitely be a daughter slave in the future and spoil her very much. Daughters must be raised in wealth and given the best. If you have seen a certain amount of the world, you should not be deceived by some boys with bad intentions. What if she just doesn't listen to you and insists on going with him? Zhang Yuxi said. Then let her see how happy her mother is to find a father like me. So she should find someone who is like her father. Right, wife? Lin Feng said with a smile. Hey, you really took the opportunity to brag about yourself. You are narcissist. Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. Ha ha ha. I am telling the truth. Am I wrong? I just love my wife very much. It's unconditional love. For me, my wife is the most important. Lin Feng said with a proud face. Indeed. Men who listen to their wives will make a fortune. Everything goes smoothly and safely. Hehe. Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. So, I am making a fortune now. And my life will always be smooth and safe. There is nothing wrong with listening to my wife. Lin Feng said. You are just good at talking, although I will do what I say. Zhang Yuxi said. Indeed, Raymond Lam is really good at talking to Zhang Yuxi. He is not only good at saying sweet words, but he also does what he says. He is not just talking without doing anything. No matter what he promises to Zhang Yuxi, or what promises he makes, Raymond Lam will fulfill them one by one. This is the perfect boyfriend, who not only talks but also does. Chapter 1504 Swear to Heaven. Of course. I will do what I say. But it's limited to my wife. Lin Feng said. Yeah, I agree with this. My husband is indeed like this too. Good man, Mr. Lin Feng, Zhang Yuxi said mischievously. Then my wife. Should I ask for a hug? Do you want it? Lin Feng deliberately said jokingly. What, you ask for it yourself? Zhang Yuxi said shyly. Why should I ask for it myself? Of course my wife will be with me. Right, my wife. Lin Feng said with a smile on his face. Zhang Yuxi immediately rolled her eyes at Lin Feng. You annoying guy, I don't want to have a baby with you now. Zhang Yuxi said. Then when does my wife want it? My husband will cooperate. Lin Feng said with a smug look on his face. Stinky man. You are really a bad guy. Zhang Yuxi said proudly. Okay, I won't tease you anymore, silly wife. Having a baby is something that will happen naturally after marriage. If my wife doesn't want it, then we can just live alone. Anyway, I'll listen to my wife. Lin Feng smiled and said. What if my parents urge us to have a baby? If we don't have a baby after marriage? Zhang Yuxi tilted her head and said. She said this on purpose to see what Lin Feng would say. After all, this problem is indeed a very realistic problem. This is a problem that will definitely arise among modern young people. Because the times are changing, people's thoughts will also change. Many young people will not consider having children immediately after marriage. Some will temporarily postpone for 1 or 2 years, and some will even consider becoming a dink family. For many families with only one child, parents may mind this more, especially those who plan to be dink. If you consider having a baby later, they may just urge you from time to time. This mentality of parents can also be understood, and it doesn't seem too much. But there are also parents who will keep urging and urging, regardless of the feelings of their daughter-in-law, which will somewhat affect the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. This is also why there are so many conflicts between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law in society. It has been like this since ancient times, and this is an unchangeable fact. Of course, there are also good sides, such as getting along very well, or the parents' ideas are very advanced and open-minded. This type of parents will not be too involved in their children's marriages, let them solve it themselves, and live their own lives. However, relatively traditional parents may not be so generous. Of course, it is not wrong. To be precise, both parties are not wrong. It's just that the children and parents have different opinions and ideas. It depends on how the parties balance this matter. Of course, the other half is the most important bond in the middle. It is also a very important factor in determining the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Fortunately, Raymond Lam is a person who is very good at handling things, and his parents are also very open-minded and very reasonable. And Zhang Yuxi is a very kind and easygoing girl. In the final analysis, Zhang Yuxi is a very good girl, and Raymond Lam is very doting on her, so Raymond Lam's parents naturally love Zhang Yuxi very much. This reduces a lot of unnecessary conflicts, and she gets along very well with Raymond Lam's parents. So just now Zhang Yuxi deliberately threw a question to Raymond Lam to see what he would say. When Lin Feng heard Zhang Yuxi ask this question, he didn't answer immediately, but couldn't help laughing. Ha 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 ha. Wife, the question you asked is impossible to happen. Because my mother won't get involved in this matter. Whether you give birth or not, and when to give birth, is up to us to decide. Lin Feng smiled and said. What if? It hasn't come to that stage yet, how can we know? Zhang Yuxi continued to ask. In fact, judging from her current relationship with Lin Feng's parents, this situation is indeed impossible. Because Lin Feng's parents basically don't interfere in their lives. Give Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi independent space, and we'll say hello in advance if there's anything. Just give them a little advice in life. After all, parents are elders, with more experience than them, and have experienced more things. What parents say still makes sense, and avoid some detours. Wife, I can swear to God on this. You know what kind of person your mother is. She will only make you pregnant, she will try her best to satisfy you, take care of you after the baby is born, but she will never urge you to give birth. Like you said, what if she really urges you to give birth? Of course I'm on your side, my wife is the most important. Just point the finger at me, I don't plan to have one for the time being, career first. In this way, they dare not say anything, at most they will nag me a few words. Lin Feng explained. Lin Feng still has some foresight. As a middleman, he must balance the relationship between the two women, otherwise if there is a conflict between the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, the problem is still on him. Although, her mother is unlikely to have a conflict with Zhang Yuxi. Because in this situation, it seems that her mother loves Zhang Yuxi more than him, just like her own daughter. The main reason is that his mother Zhang is a very open-minded person. Her ideas are very advanced, almost the same as those of today's young people. So Lin Feng is not worried at all that his mother Zhang will have a conflict with Zhang Yuxi. If there really comes such a day, it is because he, as a middleman, did not handle it well. Of course, he is not a so-called mama's boy who listens to his mother in everything. Raymond Lam is also a very opinionated person, and of course his mother Zhang also respects his ideas very much. So for Raymond Lam now, because of Zhang Yuxi, she ranks first. Zhang Yuxi is the most important person in Raymond Lam's mind. His mother Zhang once told him privately that a partner is the one who will accompany you to the end of your life. In addition to your significant other, many people only accompany you temporarily for a period of time, but only your partner is the one who will be with you day and night in the future. So Raymond Lam's mother also believes that Zhang Yuxi should be regarded as the most important person in Raymond Lam. She and Raymond Lam's father only accompany Raymond Lam for a period of time. Raymond Lam will also have his own small family and his own significant other. So they must step back appropriately and let the children live independently. And Raymond Lam's parents also have their own space to enjoy their old age. This actually avoids a lot of conflicts and everyone is happier. Chapter 1505, Money Brought by the Wind. Hubby, I asked on purpose. I know my parents won't push us. They don't want to get involved in our lives too much. My mom is also very sensible and reasonable. I'm not worried about that at all. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. But she still felt warm in her heart after listening to what Lin Feng said. Lin Feng actually always put her first, considered everything for her, and was very considerate. Silly wife, for sure. Besides, I still have to put you first no matter what. I should be filial to my parents, but I can't be blindly filial. After all, as a son, parents are also important. Because my mom is not a strong and unreasonable person, and my wife is not an unreasonable person. Besides, my parents love you the most. How can they bear to quarrel with you? Lin Feng explained. Since being with Zhang Yuxi, the most common thing his mother Zhang said to him was to take good care of Zhang Yuxi. You can't quarrel with Zhang Yuxi, and you have to give in to Zhang Yuxi in everything. It is conceivable how much his mother loves Zhang Yuxi. But even if his mother Zhang didn't say so, Lin Feng would do it. He loves his own wife. Of course, we too will honor our parents together in the future. Parents' kindness is greater than heaven. Young people just need to be more tolerant. Zhang Yuxi said. So when you have time, take the parents of both families out for travel. Buy them more gifts, they can be happy for a long time. Although they can also go out to play in groups on weekdays. But it's still different with us. After all, the whole family is together. Lin Feng said slowly. Yet after I finish the exam, I will visit my grandparents, and then take them out to play. My mother is excited now. I bought several skirts. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. Buy whatever you want, and tell her that the son-in-law will pay. Buy whatever you want, and buy the expensive ones. Lin Feng said. No, that's enough. I just gave them some money some time ago. My parents refused to take it. I forced them to take it, and they had no choice but to accept it. You often give them money in private, that's enough. Zhang Yuxi said. Because all along, Lin Feng often gave money to his parents. Although Zhang Yuxi asked Lin Feng not to give it every time, Lin Feng still insisted on giving it. And many times he gave it secretly without her knowing, and later she learned about it from her mother Zhao. Of course, The reason why Lin Feng did this was that he didn't want Zhang Yuxi to refuse. Zhang Yuxi also made a lot of money through some investments through her own ability, because she studied finance and had a smart mind. Naturally, she was more sensitive to this area and basically made a lot of money. She would also honor her parents with the money she earned through her own efforts. So she was very happy that Lin Feng often gave money to her parents, which showed that Lin Feng also valued his parents. But sometimes Lin Feng gave too much, and Zhang Yuxi was a little embarrassed. So privately, Zhang Yuxi often told her parents to take less money from Lin Feng. Lin Feng was very important to Zhang Yuxi, so she kept it in mind. But Lin Feng still gave a huge sum of money as usual, so that Zhang Yuxi's parents could buy whatever they wanted to eat, wear, and use. Zhang Yuxi's parents would also refuse Lin Feng's kindness, and sometimes they had to accept it because they couldn't resist him. Otherwise, Lin Feng would buy gifts for Zhang Yuxi's parents in disguise. Wife, don't worry about it. Listen to me, as a son-in-law, I should do it. I know my wife's concerns. My husband makes so much money that he can't spend it all. And the purpose of making money is to spend it on you and your family. So don't worry, my husband has plenty of skills and abilities to make money. Lin Feng said slowly. He knew that Zhang Yuxi didn't want to waste too much, and felt sorry for him for working so hard to make money. So she also made money through some of her own abilities and used it to honor her parents. But he is now worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and he has endless money to spend. With all his skills and abilities, he can make money no matter what. And the main reason why he makes money is because he wants to let Zhang Yuxi live a good life, and of course, he wants to let his parents live a good life. Zhang Yuxi's parents are his Lin Feng's parents, no one can distinguish between them. So naturally, he should be good to Zhang Yuxi's parents, give money when it is necessary, and buy gifts when it is necessary. In his opinion, these are all things that should be done. As long as Zhang Yuxi's parents are safe, healthy, happy and can enjoy their old age steadily. This is also good for Zhang Yuxi. Then Zhang Yuxi is happy, and Lin Feng will also be happy. Oh, I'm not sorry that you work hard to make money after all, money doesn't come from the wind. And I often honor my parents with the money I earn. Zhang Yuxi said. She also knew that Lin Feng was kind and treated her parents the same as his parents. They are all equal, without distinction. It's because Lin Feng is so good, thinking about everything for her and her family. That's why she didn't want Lin Feng to be like this. Because Lin Feng was her future husband, the one she would spend the rest of her life with. The one she would walk into the marriage hall with, the one she would live with day and night. She loved Lin Feng, so she felt sorry for him. It's possible that the money just came from the wind. Hehe. Lin Feng said with a smile. After all, when he was reborn, he was a perfect person. He was completely different from the one before his rebirth, with talents and skills. Moreover, the system also rewarded him with various abilities and a huge sum of money. It seemed that this was indeed a bit like it was blown by the wind. What? You fooled me again. Silly husband is talking nonsense again. Zhang Yuxi shook her head and said. She said that this was also reasonable. After all, she didn't know that Lin Feng had saved her after his rebirth. Even the appearance of Lin Feng made her future life undergo overwhelming changes. Moreover, the system also rewarded Lin Feng with a lot of money, which was indeed a bit like it was blown by the wind. Ha 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 ha. It's possible for me, Lin Feng smiled and said. He did not admit it directly. After all, he had never told Zhang Yuxi about it, so Zhang Yuxi thought he was talking nonsense. Chapter 1506, Desire to Share. Stupid, what are you thinking about, husband? Zhang Yuxi pinched Lin Feng's cheek and said. Wife, just don't worry about it. You know that my husband has plenty of money now, so he can spend it as he pleases. My husband is receiving a lot of money every day. The thing he has the most is money, don't worry. Lin Feng said. Hey, I know, you are the richest. I know my husband is capable. Zhang Yuxi said deliberately jokingly. Ha 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 ha. Of course. Wife will just be your Mrs. Lin with peace of mind. Lin Feng said with a proud look on his face. Yo yo yo, I know, Mr. Lin. Zhang Yuxi said mischievously. Okay, wife, you should take a bath. Don't stay up too late, you have to go to school tomorrow morning. I'll run you a bath, you take a bath. Lin Feng said with a doting look on his face. Yeah, thank you, husband, Zhang Yuxi said obediently. Do you love me? Lin Feng said. Love love love. Kiss. Zhang Yuxi said coquettishly. Come here, Silly. Lin Feng said dotingly. No, come here, Zhang Yuxi said coquettishly. Lin Feng smiled and immediately walked to Zhang Yuxi's side and leaned over to kiss her gently. Okay, go ahead. Zhang Yuxi waved her hand mischievously and said. Oh, my wife is amazing. She wanted to chase me away after the kiss. As expected, girls are fickle creatures. Lin Feng shook his head and said. Ha 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 ha. So you love me, are you afraid? Zhang Yuxi said deliberately jokingly. Hey, so love will disappear. Lin Feng also said quickly. Ha 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 ha. Then the two looked at each other and laughed. Hey, heartbeat ubu love is transmitted successfully, please receive, Zhang Yuxi said particularly playfully. Lin Feng was amused by Zhang Yuxi's cute appearance and looked at her lovingly. Love is received. Bu wife, please accept your husband's love. Lin Feng also cooperated with Zhang Yuxi very much and said. Yet two-way running so love will never disappear, Zhang Yuxi said in a cute way. It's really silly and cute, wife, your cuteness is only allowed to me. Lin Feng said with a look of a domineering president. Received, Zhang Yuxi also said in a very naughty way. Sure enough, when two people are together, they will do some things that seem strange to outsiders. The most important thing is to have someone who understands your weirdness and can accompany you to be cute. Maybe some people think it's childish, maybe some people think it's very sweet. But isn't it the case for two people who really love each other? The other party understands you and cooperates with you, and there is no greater happiness than this. Lin Feng understands Zhang Yuxi's weirdness, and then cooperates with her to respond to her cuteness. This is the best state of love. It is really important for two people to share when they are together. When you see something beautiful, you want to share it with each other. When you eat something delicious, you want to take it back and share it with each other. This is to have each other in your heart and love each other. The most terrible thing in love is that you have no desire to share with each other. You are together in the name of being together, but in fact you are living your own life. Such love will not last long. As time goes by, the two people will eventually separate for various reasons. How many couples often ignore each other's feelings and create a gap? For example, a girl enthusiastically shares something with you, but you just respond perfunctorily, and then there is no follow-up. Once or twice, after a few more times, the other party will no longer want to share with you because he is often cold-hearted. Over time, you will drift further and further apart. In the end, it ends with the end. Raymond Lam knows that this is a fatal point. The most important thing is that he really loves Zhang Yuxi. No matter what she does, he thinks it is cute, from the bottom of his heart. He also agrees with what she says, so there will be no other situation. There will be no gap between him and Zhang Yuxi, let alone conflicts. Because in Zhang Yuxi's heart, she also has a certain admiration for Lin Feng. She also thinks that Lin Feng is a very good person. Because the other party is excellent, she will also try her best to become better. Although Zhang Yuxi is already a very good person. Silly wife, I'll put a bath water for you. Hurry up and take a bath. After Lin Feng finished speaking, he immediately went to the bathroom to put the water for Zhang Yuxi. Zhang Yuxi hurriedly got up to clean up the dishes on the table while Lin Feng walked into the bathroom. Because she can only help clean up when Lin Feng is not here, otherwise if Lin Feng is here, he will not let Zhang Yuxi do it. But Zhang Yuxi doesn't want Lin Feng to work so hard, so it's okay for her to clean up. This is that both of them are concerned about each other, and neither of them is willing to let the other work hard. At this time, Zhang Yuxi was still cleaning up the table, and Lin Feng had already put the bath water out. Hey, wife, you put it there, I'll clean it up. I've already put the water for you, go take a bath. Lin Feng said with a doting face. Oh, right away. It will be done in a moment. Zhang Yuxi said. At this time, Lin Feng walked over and stopped beside Zhang Yuxi, and took the things in Zhang Yuxi's hand. Wife, be good, go take a shower, and leave the rest to your husband. Wife's hands need to be taken good care of. Let me do the rough work of washing dishes. Lin Feng said slowly. Husband, Zhang Yuxi was interrupted by Lin Feng before she finished speaking. Baby, be obedient. Go, I know what you want to say. My wife also wants to grab the job of washing dishes, Lin Feng said gently. Lin Feng certainly knew that Zhang Yuxi was distressed about him and had good intentions. But he also felt sorry for Zhang Yuxi. He could just do this little thing, and Zhang Yuxi didn't need to worry about it. Although Lin Feng could hire a nanny with his current strength, he had discussed it with Zhang Yuxi before. Zhang Yuxi felt that it was not necessary for the time being, because the two of them were just living a normal life, and Zhang Yuxi was willing to spend more time to deal with it. There is no need to hire a nanny. If there is a big project that needs cleaning or tidying up, Lin Feng will still specially hire a nanny to come and do it for a day or half a day, and just pay the bill directly, instead of hiring a nanny all year round. The main reason why he occasionally hires a nanny for half a day or a day is because he doesn't want Zhang Yuxi to be too tired. Of course, Zhang Yuxi is not the kind of hypocritical girl. She will still take the initiative to do what she should do. And she is also willing to do it. After all, she and Lin Feng have two families together, and she is particularly willing to spend her time and effort to run this small family. When hiring a nanny occasionally, it is simply because Lin Feng doesn't want Zhang Yuxi to be too hard. Chapter 1507 Invincible Combination. Oh, you're the one who snatched it from me. My husband always snatches the work, Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. That's a must. I'm the husband. I should do more of what I should do. Go take a bath quickly. The water will get cold later. Lin Feng said with a doting look on his face. He thank you for your hard work. Husband love you. Then I'll take a bath. Zhang Yuxi said mischievously. Go ahead, hurry up. Lin Feng responded. Then Zhang Yuxi put down the things in her hands and took a bath. Lin Feng was dealing with the sundries in the living room and the things on the dining table and washing the dishes. After cleaning up, Lin Feng went to the study to turn on the computer to see if there was anything he needed to deal with today. This is also what Lin Feng does every day. After all, he has a big family and too many businesses. There are so many companies, involving various fields, and the big boss can't do anything. Even if he gives it to a dedicated person in charge to be responsible for each field. But as the leader, he still has to pay attention to the real-time progress of each company every day. If there are things that need to be dealt with, he will deal with them. If not, he will ask his subordinates about the recent situation. If there are things that need to be adjusted, a meeting will be held the next day. However, Lin Feng has always been very smooth. Basically, there has never been any major problems in the company. They are all small problems that can be easily resolved. There is no need for him to come forward in person because the person in charge below can handle them. Therefore, the companies under Lin Feng's name have always been profitable, and they are still profitable. Every day is a steady profit, which also makes him stand out among the companies in the same industry and very famous. As long as the name Lin Feng is mentioned, everyone is familiar with it. After all, he is young but has achieved a lot. Even the future is limitless. In the eyes of his peers, Lin Feng is a legendary figure. Everyone must be respectful to him. After all, he has a prominent position. Of course, for now, this is not all of Lin Feng's potential. He has to do more. But for now, because he wants to go to school and study, his energy is limited, so the current industry he is developing is only temporary. There is a long way to go. In the future, he will involve more fields, more comprehensively, and more widely. Because Lin Feng is fully capable of this, the system has rewarded him with too many skills along the way, and with his rebirth, he has become a very awesome person from a mediocre person. So it is conceivable that he has unlimited possibilities, and of course he has the ability to turn possibilities into facts. Moreover, based on his understanding of Zhang Yuxi, she will definitely start her own business in the future, and his wife is extremely sensitive to numbers. She graduated from a finance major and is proficient in economics. This will add a powerful military on the road to continuing to expand the industry in the future. Of course, this military advisor is Zhang Yuxi. The couple joined forces, and there is nothing they can't defeat. It can be said to be an invincible combination. Of course, he will also give Zhang Yuxi more advice and support when she starts a business in the future. After all, let her do what she wants to do, as long as she is happy. After a while, Zhang Yuxi came out of the shower with wet hair. Husband, you should take a shower soon. Zhang Yuxi came to the study and said. Tisk, silly wife. Come, I'll blow your hair first. Lin Feng said with a doting look. No need, honey, I'll do it myself. You go take a shower first. Zhang Yuxi said. Every time after taking a shower, Lin Feng would take the initiative to blow dry his hair, so when he saw Zhang Yuxi's wet hair, his conditioned reflex was to blow dry her hair. This has become his habit. Zhang Yuxi cares about Lin Feng's kindness to her little details, but she also wants Lin Feng to take a shower early and then rest. That's why she said she can do it herself. Come here, Lin Feng said with a look of a domineering president. Then he took Zhang Yuxi's hand and went to the bedroom, asking her to sit on the sofa and wait. Lin Feng went to find a hairdryer. Then he blew Zhang Yuxi's hair dry, and Zhang Yuxi had to sit obediently. Honey, aren't you afraid of spoiling me? Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. Have you become bad now? Lin Feng looked at Zhang Yuxi with a smile and said. Well, I don't think so. I haven't changed now, have I? Zhang Yuxi thought for a while and said. Silly wife, that means I don't spoil you enough now. Otherwise you should be spoiled. Lin Feng smiled and said. Puff husband, what you said. Very good. Zhang Yuxi couldn't help laughing and said. Silly, isn't it? I'm telling the truth. Lin Feng said. Yes, you are right. But I think you already spoil me very much. What if, I said what if? After spoiling me, I suddenly changed. Because you spoiled me too much, it became doting, and then it turned out to be a disaster. I'm spoiled, what should I do? Zhang Yuxi tilted her head and said. Lin Feng gently supported Zhang Yuxi's head with his hand and continued to blow her hair. Silly, don't move even if it turns out to be a disaster, it's still you. It won't turn into another person. What else can I do? Continue to love her. After all, even if my wife is spoiled, I still have to continue to love her. Lin Feng said slowly. Really? If I become unreasonable and become a different person, will you still love me? How credible is this? Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. It must be 100%. When have I ever said something that I didn't do? I have done everything. It must be true. Lin Feng said confidently. He still has this confidence. After all, he knows how much he loves Zhang Yuxi. No matter how Zhang Yuxi will become one day, he will still love her as always. Since the day he chose to confess his love to Zhang Yuxi, he should have made up his mind in his heart, and from then on, he would only love Zhang Yuxi. He will never change until death, and no one can change it. As long as he, Lin Feng, decides to do something, he will definitely do it. So he is very confident and sure that he will always love Zhang Yuxi. But why did you feel a little helpless just now? It seems that there is no other way, it can only be like this. Zhang Yuxi continued to speak deliberately jokingly. I dare not. My wife is the most important. What I said is what I really think. Lin Feng said innocently. My husband looks serious. I believe you, Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. But it is true that everything Lin Feng said to her is effective. Because Lin Feng will do it no matter what, and fulfill his promise, no matter it is a big thing or a small thing. Lin Feng keeps it in mind and will never let Zhang Yuxi down. Zhang Yuxi knows all these and remembers them in her heart. The reason why she asked Lin Feng that just now was actually intentional. Before Lin Feng answered her, Zhang Yuxi had already thought about agreeing and had an answer in her mind. Of course, the answer she thought in her mind was naturally the same as what Lin Feng answered. But girls are really like this, so-called girls in the world are the same. They like to ask their partners some nonsensical questions or very boring questions. They know it well but still can't help asking. In fact, they just want to see what the other person's attitude is. This is also the little fun of flirting between Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi. Of course, every time Zhang Yuxi asked, Lin Feng would answer very seriously and would never be perfunctory. He would say whatever he thought. Chapter 1508 I'm awake. Wife, you are just too naughty. Lin Feng said with a doting look. Oh, how could I not as naughty as you? Sometimes when you are naughty, I can't stop you. Zhang Yuxi said. That's only in front of you. In front of others, I am a cold and unapproachable person. Lin Feng explained. Ha. Then it's mutual. It just so happens that I am the same, naughty in front of you. It seems that we have something in common, Zhang Yuxi said deliberately jokingly. Tisk 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 tisk, my wife is really I can't do anything about you. This little mouth is quite talkative. Lin Feng smiled and said. That's a must. I learned it. Husband, guess where I learned it from? Zhang Yuxi said playfully. I know it. Are you trying to say that you learned it from me? Lin Feng said with a smile on his face. Smart. Sure enough, the one who knows me is my husband. Zhang Yuxi said proudly. Ha. This silly girl. You are going to make me laugh to death, silly. You are still speaking in such a refined way. Lin Feng couldn't help laughing after hearing what Zhang Yuxi said. I have to admit that sometimes Zhang Yuxi is also childish and cute. Every time she does something or says something, Lin Feng can't help laughing. At first, I never thought that Zhang Yuxi, A gentle and considerate girl who speaks softly, exudes the charm of a Jiangnan woman. Fresh and elegant, these words are perfect to describe Zhang Yuxi. But after being with Lin Feng, Zhang Yuxi slowly showed many sides that she had not shown before. She began to become very interesting, cute, and naughty. Even sometimes she became humorous in her speech. She was completely different from when she was not with Lin Feng. At that time, she became very depressed due to various external factors. I always felt a hint of coldness. The reason why she was in such a state at that time was because she was not happy in her heart. Without the sun shining in, she wrapped herself up. She was like wandering at a very dark intersection. She was hesitating which way to choose and what to do next. Because Zhang Yuxi was confused at that time, no one told her how to go. There was no one who could lead her out of the predicament. So, it has been accumulated in her heart, and over time, it has become more and more. Until one day she couldn't hold on any longer and had reached her limit. She finally put down all her burdens and chose to end her life in the dark. However, it all started over again. Let Lin Feng, who was reborn, save Zhang Yuxi, whom he had always loved for a long time, without hesitation. That is, from the moment of confession, the change of Zhang Yuxi's fate was destined. Lin Feng's reappearance also saved a girl who was full of gloom in the world. From then on, Lin Feng became Zhang Yuxi's sunshine. The light was very dazzling, and Zhang Yuxi couldn't hide, and the light shone into her heart. Slowly, Zhang Yuxi's heart was also full of sunshine. She was no longer depressed and sad. From then on, because of the appearance of Lin Feng, she was full of hope for life. Everything became sunny. But Zhang Yuxi didn't know what happened before Lin Feng was reborn to save her. But she just knew that Lin Feng was her sunshine. He made her life rich and hopeful. Because she met such an excellent Lin Feng, and a man who loved her so much. As the saying goes, the direction of her heart is the light. And Lin Feng is her light. Husband, I love you, nothing else, just telling you that I love you. Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. Silly, I love you more. Lin Feng said. Husband, I think you are a light in my life. Bring me hope, bring me beauty, bring me happiness, bring me love. Bring me a lot. Zhang Yuxi said slowly. My wife didn't drink. Why did you suddenly say sweet words? Lin Feng smiled and said. But he was already used to Zhang Yuxi like this, and often said sweet words to him on a whim. It should be said that girls in love are all like this. Girls are more emotional than rational in feelings, so they often express their feelings naturally when they are deep. However, boys are more rational than emotional in love, which is why they prefer to reason when there is a problem. When two people are in love, girls talk about feelings and boys talk about reason. So there are always conflicts between couples at this point. Fortunately, Raymond Lam has never been very reasonable when dealing with Zhang Yuxi. Because in fact, everyone understands the reason. At this time, if a girl is angry, she will not listen to the reason at all. The attitude of boys is more important than reasoning. Raymond Lam is a person with very high IQ and EQ. It is difficult for someone to achieve both high levels. But Raymond Lam is such a person. Therefore, Zhang Yuxi has never had any conflicts with him since she was with him. It is even more impossible to quarrel because of disagreements. Because no matter when, Raymond Lam respects Zhang Yuxi's ideas very much, and he will not care too much about her. Mainly in life, she is the main thing, and many problems are naturally solved. In addition, he and Zhang Yuxi often have a tacit understanding before, and their opinions, ideas, choices, etc. are all coincident. This also makes the two of them get along very well. However, in the final analysis, the most important thing is that they love each other enough. Love is greater than everything. Zhang Yuxi couldn't help laughing after hearing what Lin Feng said. I'm sober. If I were drunk, I wouldn't necessarily say these words, Zhang Yuxi said with a proud face. We were chatting well, and suddenly my wife went the affectionate route. I'm not ready to answer it. How about wife, please say it again. Lin Feng deliberately said jokingly. Hey, annoying. No more. You'll never see it again. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. Stingy, my wife. Can't you say it one more time? Lin Feng said. Oh my, then I'm stingy. HMPH. I won't say it again in the future. Zhang Yuxi said while grabbing her mouth. She pretended to be angry, but she was actually laughing silently in her heart. Ah. That won't work. Wife, I was wrong. I said the wrong thing. I'm stingy, I'm the stingiest, I'm a stingy ghost. Lin Feng immediately admitted his weakness and said, "Wife, you are the most generous." "Right, wife? So my boss won't bother with me. Because my wife is generous and gentle, how could she bother with me?" Then Lin Feng started to flatter. "Good guy. This idiot actually acted first and asked for permission later, and kept flattering. He is quite smart." Zhang Yuxi looked at Lin Feng steadily and thought to herself, "You are such a smart guy. You are quite good at talking." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1509, Breakfast is left to my husband. You praised me first, and now if I care about it, I'm being petty, right? My husband is still okay. Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. No, I'm telling the truth. My wife is really generous. Ha 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 ha. Lin Feng couldn't help laughing after he finished speaking. It's a bit unbelievable to praise me at this time. Zhang Yuxi pouted and said. I swear to God. Every word is true. Lin Feng said seriously. Puff okay, God knows. How many oaths have you made? Zhang Yuxi said with a smile. Hurry up and take a shower. It will be bright if we chat more. Zhang Yuxi continued to say. Yes, my wife. I'll go right away. Lin Feng said with a smile. Then Lin Feng went to the bathroom to take a shower. Zhang Yuxi began her evening skincare time. She applied a facial mask, leaned against the head of the bed and read a book to kill time. After a while, Lin Feng also came out of the shower. And Zhang Yuxi also finished her skincare. Wife, do you want some water? Lin Feng asked. Because Zhang Yuxi has a habit of drinking some water before going to bed. Yes, yes. Zhang Yuxi responded obediently, and then climbed out of the quilt. Then wait, I'll get it for you. Lin Feng said gently. Zhang Yuxi nodded in response. Then, Lin Feng went to the living room to get a cup of warm water and handed it to Zhang Yuxi. After Zhang Yuxi gave the water, Lin Feng took the cup and went out to the living room to get another cup of water. Then, he put it on the table in the bedroom. Because he was worried that Zhang Yuxi would have no water to drink when she woke up in the middle of the night, every time before going to bed, Lin Feng would prepare a glass of water for her and put it at the head of the bed. If Zhang Yuxi was thirsty in the middle of the night, she could take a few sips to quench her thirst. Since Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi lived together, they have been habitually kept. Day after day, every night. The main thing is that Lin Feng will remember it clearly and never forget it. Then, Lin Feng helped Zhang Yuxi pour the water and brought it in. Thank you, husband, Zhang Yuxi said sweetly. Okay, let's go to sleep. Lin Feng said. Yes, husband, come quickly. Zhang Yuxi patted the quilt and said. Hey, my wife can't wait, right? Lin Feng deliberately said jokingly. Zhang Yuxi was speechless. Then don't come over. Go to the next room to sleep. Zhang Yuxi said lightly. I won't. I want to sleep with my wife. Lin Feng said with a smile on his face. Then he immediately laid down beside Zhang Yuxi and hugged her tightly. Hey, idiot. I can't breathe. Go away. Zhang Yuxi said in a coquettish tone. That won't work. I won't leave. Wife, accept your fate. Lin Feng smiled and said. Ha 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 ha. Can I not accept my fate? Then I'll leave? Zhang Yuxi couldn't help laughing and said. Don't. Be good, go to sleep. Lin Feng said. Then he turned off the light, and Zhang Yuxi also lay obediently in Lin Feng's arms and fell asleep. Good night, husband. Zhang Yuxi said. Well, good night, wife. Lin Feng responded. Then he gently kissed Zhang Yuxi on the forehead. Then the two fell asleep in each other's arms. The next day. At 7 o'clock in the morning. Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi woke up on time. Husband, take a nap. I'll go make a simple breakfast. Zhang Yuxi looked at Lin Feng on the bed and said gently. Let me do it, wife. Anyway, I'm awake too. Lin Feng got up hurriedly and spoke. After all, he was awake now, and he couldn't sleep more even if he wanted to. Because his biological clock was basically fixed, he would wake up on time at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the alarm clock would wake him up even if he couldn't wake up. Since he was already awake, he might as well get up and make a simple breakfast, and then go to school after eating. After all, the place where they lived was not far from the school, and there was still enough time now. And Lin Feng also thought that when he got up and made breakfast, Zhang Yuxi could go wash and tidy herself up. After all, girls are a little more cumbersome than boys before going out. Boys are more casual and just need to tidy up simply. Girls are different. They will spend some time dressing themselves up every day. They are not for the sake of beauty to please anyone, but simply to make themselves feel better today. Because they are dressed up beautifully, their mood will also be good, so the troubles of the day can be reduced by more than half. Although in Lin Feng's eyes, Zhang Yuxi is very beautiful even without much makeup. It should be said that in the eyes of anyone, Zhang Yuxi is very beautiful, even without makeup. On the contrary, too much makeup will eat up her original fresh and refined appearance. But it is true that it has always been the case that if Zhang Yuxi wants to wear makeup, it is basically just a little light makeup. It is already the icing on the cake. Because Zhang Yuxi is naturally beautiful, she does not need any extra decoration at all, and her beauty has already been highlighted. It's okay, husband, I'll do it. I'll make it for you this morning. Do you want egg rolls? Zhang Yuxi smiled and said as she got up. Silly wife, someone is willing to make breakfast for you, but you don't want it. I'll do it. Wife, go wash up and clean yourself up. Lin Feng also got up and said. I should be the one saying this to you. I am willing to make it for you, but you don't want it. Zhang Yuxi said. In this case, it's better to obey than to be respectful. Breakfast is left to my husband. Then, Zhang Yuxi continued to speak. She knew that if she continued to waste time with Lin Feng, the final result would still be that he would do it. Since Lin Feng had already spoken, there was no point in arguing, so it was better to let him do it. Otherwise, if they continued to waste time, they would be late, and the main thing was that Lin Feng would go directly to the kitchen to make breakfast. Go ahead. You want an omelette, right? Lin Feng said. Yeah, I want bacon. Same as last time, so delicious. Zhang Yuxi said obediently. Okay, I know, little greedy pig. Your saliva is about to flow out. Lin Feng deliberately said jokingly. I'm not. I'm going to wash my face. Zhang Yuxi went to the bathroom after she finished speaking. Then, Lin Feng made breakfast alone in the kitchen. Chapter 1510, Entering the Classroom. After a while, breakfast was ready, and Zhang Yuxi was still tidying herself up in the cloakroom. Lin Feng took this opportunity to go to the bathroom to wash up. After washing up, Lin Feng also went to the cloakroom and saw Zhang Yuxi still tidying herself up. Wife, are you ready? It's time to have breakfast, otherwise it will get cold later. Lin Feng said with a gentle face. While talking, he changed out of his pajamas and put on clothes for going out. Husband, I have prepared clothes for you. No need to look for them. Zhang Yuxi pointed to the clothes hanging next to her and said. Thank you, wife. Lin Feng said. You're welcome he. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. Okay, let's go have breakfast. Your egg rolls will get cold later. Lin Feng said. Then Zhang Yuxi followed Lin Feng to have breakfast. Wow, husband, you've worked hard. It's delicious, Zhang Yuxi said with satisfaction. She has always had a habit, that is, no matter what Lin Feng does, Zhang Yuxi will praise Lin Feng without hesitation. Because in her opinion, Raymond Lam is giving. Of course he can't just give like that. Proper praise or compliments can make the other person at least happy in his heart, and also recognize the other person and see the other person's efforts. From these things, we can also see that Zhang Yuxi is also a very smart and emotionally intelligent girl. When two people get along, praise is an indispensable thing. And it must be mutual. Praise each other more, and there will be more harmony and love. If you take the other person's efforts for granted, over time, there will be problems in the relationship, and these problems will accumulate for a long time, and there will be no room for coordination. Because no one's efforts are taken for granted, and no one's efforts are for nothing. Two people are together because of love, just like Raymond Lam and Zhang Yuxi, who love each other. There will always be something to be together with each other and willing to give. Although, not all efforts can be rewarded. But if you keep giving without getting any return, then no matter what relationship it is impossible to last. This is even more true for love. If only one person pays, then this relationship is an unhealthy relationship. In the end, they will still go their separate ways due to various factors. It's a little cold. Wife, drink the milk too. Lin Feng said. It's okay, but the taste is still as good as always. I can't finish the milk. Fateful Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. You drink first, I'll help you drink if you can't finish it. Lin Feng said. Then the two finished breakfast. Then they set off for school. Nearly 20 minutes later, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi arrived at the school. Lin Feng found a parking space and parked the car. Then the two hurriedly got out of the car and ran to the classroom. Wife, wait for me downstairs of the teaching building at noon today. And, remember our agreement last night. Lin Feng said while pulling Zhang Yuxi to run. I know. I'm almost out of breath and can't speak. Zhang Yuxi said breathlessly. It's really a race against time. After running all the way, I finally arrived downstairs of the classroom. Since Lin Feng's classroom was on the other side, the two of them separated at the bottom of the teaching building. Then they climbed the stairs all the way. They just ran into the classroom in a hurry when the bell rang. It was another day of arriving at the classroom on time. Yuxi, you're here. I was wondering why you were late today. Li said excitedly. I can't do it anymore. Running competitions are not so exciting. I'm so tired. Zhang Yuxi said breathlessly. Come on, drink some water. Oh my god. Suanna said. Then she handed a bottle of water to Zhang Yuxi. My goddess. I'm sweating. Xiaoyu also said softly. Shhhh. Keep your voice down. Not only am I sweating, I almost vomited what I ate this morning. Zhang Yuxi said helplessly. Ha. It's too hard. Li suddenly couldn't help laughing. Shhhhh. Zhang Yuxi reminded her quickly. But her reminder was too late. At this time, all the students in the class looked at Li curiously. The teacher on the podium couldn't help but become curious. Student, do you have anything funny to share? Tell me, let the teacher laugh too. My phone fell before I went out this morning, and now I'm in a bad mood. The teacher on the podium said jokingly. It just so happened that the teacher in charge of today's class is also a very humorous teacher on weekdays. And he is a young male teacher who is only about 30 years old. So he is relatively generous and can joke with students. The main reason is that the age difference is not particularly large, so they are more on the same wavelength. If it were another teacher, Li would probably be criticized today. Li didn't know what to say immediately, and her face turned red to the root of her neck. Old teacher, I'm sorry. I disturbed your class. Then, Li still spoke politely. Your magical laughter really attracted the whole class. Including me. But laughing makes you look 10 years younger, and laughing more has more benefits than disadvantages. The male teacher on the podium said humorously. Ha. At this time, the students in the audience burst into laughter. So, it's okay for the teacher to drop the phone. Laugh more, at worst you can buy a new one. Or we can pull some money and buy you a Nokia. It's good enough to be able to make phone calls, don't ask for too much. Li also started to talk nonsense. As soon as she said this, the whole class burst into laughter again. Even the male teacher on the podium couldn't help laughing. This silly girl. Zhang Yuxi shook her head helplessly and muttered softly. Li, control yourself a little, control yourself a little. Suanna said softly at the side. Because they all knew Li's personality very well, and she couldn't stop talking when she got excited. She could talk for a whole morning. Pucci. You can't stop her. Xiaoyu laughed at the side. Yes, teacher, I think what Li said makes sense. As long as you don't mind. A female classmate in the classroom joked. I don't mind if you mind. But without WeChat in this era, teachers can't do anything. How can I send you messages in the group? I still have to assign tasks. You want me to use Nokia so that you can escape the tasks, right? You are all smart guys. The male teacher also said deliberately. No, we don't have such a mind, teacher. You really are. You are so scheming. Li continued to joke. Hey. The teacher's eloquence is not as good as you. Come on, continue the class. If you fail the final exam, don't blame me. The male teacher smiled and said. Then he continued the class, and Li finally calmed down. Chapter 1511, Hold on to the thighs of the academic bully. Li, you were so rude just now, Xiaoyu teased deliberately. You little bastard, go away. Li smiled and said. Zhang Yuxi ignored them at this time and listened to the class seriously. Come on, we have to listen to the class seriously too. Otherwise, what if we fail the final exam? Suanna said. Don't be afraid, hug your thighs. Sit next to Yuxi then. With the academic master here, why are we so nervous? Xiaoyu said. But it is true. The most nervous thing in college is to fail the exam. If you fail the exam, you have to take the makeup exam again, and the key point is that you may not pass the makeup exam. So the best way for the poor students is to hug their thighs. Zhang Yuxi's academic performance has always been one of the best in the class, and her grades in every subject are particularly good. The main reason is that Zhang Yuxi listens very seriously in class every time, and Zhang Yuxi herself is very smart. From childhood to adulthood, her academic performance has always been very excellent, the so-called good child of other people's families as parents say. Therefore, Zhang Yuxi's best friends can just hold Zhang Yuxi's thighs during the final exams. And now it's very close to the final exams. In a month or so, each course will arrange final exams one after another. Generally speaking, when the final exams are approaching, some people are happy and some are worried. The poor students will worry about whether they will fail the course. After all, if they fail the course, they have to spend money to retake the exam. If they fail the retake and still can't get the diploma, then these years are equivalent to studying in vain. Of course, if they can find a big god to hold thighs like Zhang Yuxi's roommates and best friends, then basically there is no need to worry. Of course. I've thought about it. If the exams start at that time, I will go to the classroom in advance to occupy a seat. Let us sit closer. This way we can hold thighs. Li Yi smiled and said. Yes, Su Anna has the best eyesight. Let her stay closer to Yuxi, and then we will copy her. The final exam is guaranteed. Xiaoyu still said in a low voice. Really? A poor student has to think of a strategy in advance, right? You two have arranged it perfectly. Su Anna said. It's a must. After all, we are preparing for the final exam. It's always right to plan ahead. Li Yi said. You guys will be called on if you keep talking, you keep chattering. The teacher looked at you several times just now. Zhang Yuxi reminded. Okay, I won't say anything more. Shhhhh. In fact, the teacher has a good temper and won't get angry. He will just laugh it off. Xiaoyu smiled and said. Yes, he is. Li Yi suddenly spoke excitedly. But she was interrupted by the male teacher on the podium halfway through her words. You again. Do you have so many things to share today? Don't come to me when you fail the course if you don't listen carefully. The male teacher said lightly. In fact, as a teacher, his temper is already good, and he has never got angry with students. Or he has never been angry because of any reason in class. He always looks gentle and refined, and his tone is very gentle. This male teacher is very good at controlling emotions. It is because of his gentle personality that many students are more casual in his class. Because they don't have any fear of him. Students feel that if there is a little noise in the class, this teacher will not be angry, and will remind them gently. Of course, this kind of teacher has both advantages and disadvantages for students. Teachers who make students more afraid or oppressive will make students more obedient in class and dare not make too many comments or small movements. In this case, for students, it seems that there is no choice but to listen to the class. If you encounter a more naughty student, a more serious teacher will be less popular. So that some small number of students will have a resistance and thus resist this course. However, for a teacher like this male teacher who is gentle and humorous, the atmosphere of the class is more relaxed and pleasant for students. Of course, he will also be loved by many students, because students like teachers who are easy to get along with and friendly. But there are also advantages and disadvantages. If the teacher is too friendly, students will be more casual in class. In this way, the effect on learning is not rigorous enough. On the contrary, there is also a possibility that because you like this teacher, you will also like this course. Then there will be more motivation in learning. In fact, during college, the most important thing is to rely on your own ability to learn independently. Many university professors or teachers left in a hurry after the course. Or when the get out of class time comes, the students disperse. It is impossible for teachers or class teachers of various subjects to always pay attention to the learning situation or learning progress of students like in junior high school and high school. In college, it is completely based on one's own self-conscious ability. Of course, the teacher will still teach and explain the questions, but most of the time after class is to study, research and explore by yourself. Because time is relatively free in college, except for class time, You can do whatever you want in the rest of the time. Some people choose to eat, drink and have fun. Some choose to play sports. Some are busy dating, or some often sulk in the library. And Zhang Yuxi is the unity of these people. She enjoys it to her heart's content when she eats, drinks and has fun. When it's time to exercise, she will team up with Lin Feng or her girlfriends to play ball. Of course, falling in love is also essential, because she is lucky enough to have become her future life partner in advance. Of course, she will not neglect her studies because of these. Zhang Yuxi is particularly excellent in all aspects and has comprehensive development. Some students may delay their studies because of playing or falling in love, but this is impossible for Zhang Yuxi. She is still very strict with herself in terms of learning. And after she is with Lin Feng, she will only become a better person. Of course, the same is true for Lin Feng. They work hard, make progress, and become better. It was because of meeting Zhang Yuxi that Lin Feng changed some of his previous bad habits. Step by step, he made himself better, although he was already good enough after his rebirth. For example, he was not so careful and thoughtful before, but after being with Zhang Yuxi, he gave all his carefulness to Zhang Yuxi. Although it is said that in love, you don't need to change yourself easily, just keep yourself, because the love that loves you will love the original you. But no one can be perfect, there will always be some places that may not be good enough. Of course, when you are with someone you like, you can improve your shortcomings and work hard to make yourself excellent, which is also a very happy thing. If you are with someone and you become worse and worse in the relationship, or you cry more than you smile, then this relationship is unhealthy. Good love should make you happier and better. Chapter 1512 The Power of Love. Sometimes in a relationship, you have to learn to stop losses in time and learn to distinguish. Just like Lin Feng, he is willing to be more careful for Zhang Yuxi, and it happens naturally. The relationship between him and Zhang Yuxi is very strong. Because they love each other and are both excellent. If you love the right person, every day is Valentine's Day. Lin Feng loves Zhang Yuxi seriously every day, no matter when. From beginning to end, as always. So, this is the power of love. Obviously, Zhang Yuxi's roommates and girlfriends are a little talkative and naughty in class. And Zhang Yuxi is more alternative among most people. She rarely whispers in class unless there are special circumstances. Or it is a less important non-professional course, which is relatively easier. Otherwise, Zhang Yuxi is more serious in class. No matter which aspect she does, she is particularly excellent. She is beautiful and has good academic performance in the eyes of others. She is such an excellent person and works so hard. She is really an object of envy and jealousy. At this time, Li Yi was reminded by the teacher again, and the classmates in the class were used to it. Li Yi was a little embarrassed and immediately became quiet. Sorry, teacher, I'm interrupting you. I'll shut up right now and stop talking. Li Yi said quickly. She just wanted to find a hole in the ground to crawl into. If you have anything good to say, talk about it after class. Then I'll listen too. The male teacher spoke gently as always. Okay, teacher. Li Yi responded. Then the teacher continued to teach, and Li Yi instantly became a little quieter after that. Xiaoyu and Suanna almost got hurt. Looking at Li Yi's expression after being told by the teacher, it was really funny. They all felt embarrassed for Li Yi. So they were trying their best to control themselves from laughing. You two, stop laughing. Stinky girl. You two are just bad friends. Li Yi said in a low voice. Because she didn't dare to be too presumptuous, otherwise she would not give face to the male teacher. Oh my god. I'm dying of choking. You're so funny, your expression just now. I just forgot to record it with my phone. They'll definitely burst out laughing if I send it to them. Xiaoyu covered her mouth and laughed secretly, trying not to laugh too loudly. Otherwise, she would be the focus of everyone in the class again. Yes, I almost got a stitch in the side. Your expression just now is so funny. We both fell directly on the table. Always controlling it. Suanna also spoke in a low voice with a low voice. At this time, Zhang Yuxi heard the conversation between them, and her mouth corners rose slightly. Because she was also amused by Li Yi's funny expression just now, but she was already restraining herself at that time. After all, she knew her best friends' personalities. Her roommates and best friends were all very easy to get along with good tempers, carefree and heartless. Usually, they would play and make fun of each other when they were together, and insult each other. So Zhang Yuxi has also become accustomed to the way these best friends get along, and all kinds of bickering with each other. But as long as one of them is treated unfairly, the girlfriends are still very united, and they will stand up for their sisters and be very loyal. Moreover, these girlfriends are very temperamental, humorous, informal, joking, and gentle. In short, Zhang Yuxi feels very comfortable with them. Therefore, she became girlfriends with these roommates. What's more, these girlfriends have successfully matched with Lin Feng's roommates, so-called double happiness. Fat water does not flow to outsiders. This also allows them to have dinner together frequently, go out together, and go to get out of class together. What a good thing. Zhang Yuxi immediately reminded from the side. Because these few people will get more and more excited if they continue to chat, and the teacher will definitely say it again. Stop for a while, let's talk after class. Zhang Yuxi said in a low voice. Okay. No more. Pause. Li Yi said quickly. At Zhang Yuxi's reminder, the girlfriends finally calmed down. They were quiet until the bell rang. Do you want to go to the bathroom? I have to pee. Xiaoyu said as soon as the bell rang. Go, I'll go too. My stomach is not feeling well. Li Yi also said. Yuxi, are you going? Suanna asked. Well, did you bring tissues? Zhang Yuxi said. I brought them, let's go. Suanna said. I think the bathroom is full. Xiaoyu said. It seems that the girls' bathroom has always been like this, and you have to fight to go to the bathroom. At this time, Zhang Yuxi followed a few roommates to go to the bathroom. Lin Feng also sent a message to Zhang Yuxi at this time. He told her to wait for her downstairs in the teaching building after class. Today he was treating his roommates and Zhang Yuxi's roommates and girlfriends. Lin Feng sent a message to Zhang Yuxi asking what she wanted to eat for lunch today. He had booked a restaurant in advance. However, Zhang Yuxi put her phone in her bag at her seat in the classroom. She didn't know that Lin Feng had sent her a message. After waiting for a few minutes, Lin Feng still didn't get a reply from Zhang Yuxi, so he called her. Still no one answered, and Zhang Yuxi's phone was basically muted during class time. Even if she was in the classroom, she didn't know that Lin Feng called. Maybe she would find out after the last class when she took out her phone. What's wrong? You look a little serious. Zhang Yanmin, her deskmate, asked. Because Lin Feng had nothing to do just now, why did he not feel in a good state after making a phone call? In fact, Lin Feng's mind was all on Zhang Yuxi at this time. So Zhang Yanmin was curious when he saw him like this. Lin Feng had long been accustomed to Zhang Yuxi not replying to messages or answering calls during class. Because Lin Feng knew all of Zhang Yuxi's habits clearly. Generally, everyone would turn their phones to silent or vibrate mode during class. After all, it was during class time, and if there was a call, the ringing would not be good. However, Zhang Yuxi didn't play with her phone much during class, so she often put her phone in her bag, so naturally she didn't know there were any messages or calls. Chapter 1513, Had a fight with Zhang Yuxi? It's okay. Lin Feng just replied lightly. Brother, you are totally out of shape. Are you okay? Zhang Yanmin smiled and said. And after saying these words, Lin Feng's roommates also heard it. After all, it was still break time. So Chen Kun came over. Boss, what's wrong? Chen Kun asked. At this time, Su He and Chen Dongyan also followed, thinking that something happened to Lin Feng. After all, they just heard the conversation between Zhang Yanmin and Lin Feng. And Lin Feng has always solved any problems by himself and would not reveal them in advance. But as Lin Feng's roommates, they must be concerned. It's okay. No problem. It's just that Yuxi didn't answer the phone. Lin Feng said lightly. This. Maybe sister-in-law didn't hear it. Chen Kun said. Boss, did you make sister-in-law angry? Or did you quarrel with sister-in-law? Chen Dongyan said. No way. The boss and his wife have never quarreled. It's impossible to quarrel. Su He also said. Lin Feng sat down with a blank expression, still thinking in his heart, how could these guys think that he and Zhang Yuxi quarreled? This is simply impossible to happen. Maybe people all over the world quarrel, but he and Zhang Yuxi will not quarrel. After all, they have never quarreled, never disagreed, and there is no possibility of conflict since they were together. So it is basically impossible for him and Zhang Yuxi to quarrel. Well, it is indeed a quarrel. Lin Feng paused and said. Originally, he wanted to say what you think, How could he and Zhang Yuxi quarrel, unless the sun rises from the west? But then he thought about it, and remembered the thing he talked about with Zhang Yuxi at home last night, and just said that he would tease them when he came to class today. Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi pretended to quarrel to see how his brothers or Zhang Yuxi's roommates and girlfriends would react. Today is the time to test Zhang Yuxi's acting skills. Lin Feng thought to himself. Ah. No way. Boss, are you sure you're not kidding? Chen Kun said in disbelief. That's right, boss, are you kidding us? How could you possibly quarrel with your sister-in-law? Then the sun really rose from the west. Suhi also said in shock. You guys are just too serious. Obviously, the boss was just joking, and you really believed it. Chen Dongyun said immediately. Obviously, Lin Feng's roommates and brothers also completely didn't believe that Lin Feng would quarrel with Zhang Yuxi. This situation is quite zero. After all, as Lin Feng's brothers, they all know very well how he and Zhang Yuxi get along. Pampering his girlfriend is the first, and no one can surpass it. Lin Feng's roommates and brothers also plan to follow Lin Feng as an example. Moreover, their girlfriends, that is, Zhang Yuxi's roommates and girlfriends, often complain about their boyfriends to Zhang Yuxi. Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends also asked Lin Feng's brothers to learn how Lin Feng treats Zhang Yuxi. So, when Lin Feng said that he had a quarrel with Zhang Yuxi, they all looked incredible. They didn't even believe that such a thing would happen to Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi. Unless the sun really rose from the west. Seriously. We quarreled last night. And we didn't talk much this morning. Lin Feng said calmly. Why, boss? Why? This is not your style at all. We brothers know how much you love your sister-in-law. Suhi said with a puzzled look. Because Lin Feng spoke with a serious face, he was a little skeptical at first, but now he suddenly believed what Lin Feng said. Moreover, Lin Feng would quarrel with Zhang Yuxi? What on earth was the reason that made them quarrel? No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't figure it out. Yes, boss. What happened? Is it serious? Chen Kun said with a serious expression. No way, it's true. Oh my god, this. What should I do? Chen Dongyun said. He was also deceived by Lin Feng's superb acting skills. He didn't believe it at first, thinking that Lin Feng was just joking to tease them. But based on his understanding of Lin Feng, this state and expression today didn't seem like a joke at all. With a serious face, Chen Dongyun had to believe it. The boss is like this, how can it not be true? It looks like he had a quarrel with his sister-in-law. Suhi said. At this moment, Lin Feng's brothers and roommates have completely believed Lin Feng's words and are sure that Lin Feng had a quarrel with Zhang Yuxi. Lin Feng was laughing secretly in his heart. But he still restrained himself, not showing any expression. He couldn't let these guys see the flaws, since they already believed it. Then he would act it out to the end. He just planned to invite them and Zhang Yuxi's roommates and girlfriends to dinner at noon today. Then he would see what they would show. The most important thing now is whether Zhang Yuxi can keep stable. Lin Feng knows Zhang Yuxi very well, because she is not good at lying, and it's time to test her acting skills. I just don't know if she can get away with it and make her roommates believe her words. And the most important thing is, I don't know if this silly girl Zhang Yuxi still remembers what she said to him last night. And now Zhang Yuxi has not replied to Lin Feng's message, which means she hasn't checked her phone yet. But Lin Feng still took out his phone and secretly sent a message to Zhang Yuxi. Wife, remember what we said last night. You are being mean to me by pretending to quarrel. I have already started. Lin Feng quickly sent the message and sat down as if nothing had happened. He guessed that Zhang Yuxi probably wouldn't check her phone, so he could only hope that Zhang Yuxi still remembered what she said to him last night. Anyway, the message has been sent to remind them. Lin Feng's roommates are still anxiously waiting for Lin Feng's answer. What was the reason for him to quarrel with Zhang Yuxi? But just at this time, the class bell rang. They had to go back to their seats and do their homework first. The teacher started talking about the topic in class again. Because Lin Feng was sitting with Zhang Anmin, several roommates sat together. Although they were not too far from Lin Feng, just a disc in front and behind. But it was class time after all, and the teacher was still teaching on the podium. So it was not good to go off the mark and ask Lin Feng about the specific situation. But they were very curious. How big of a deal could make Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi quarrel? Of course, Lin Feng was also teasing them. It happened to be class time, and those brothers wanted to know but couldn't know. They would be even more curious. Chapter 1514, Finding gossip. Let me ask Li. Maybe she should know. And my sister-in-law is with him. Suhi said in a low voice. Yes, they should understand. Even if they don't understand, they will ask my sister-in-law about the whole story. Chen Dongyun also said. Then, Suhi took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Li. Baby, the boss and sister-in-law had a quarrel, do you know what happened? After Suhi sent the message, he glanced at Lin Feng. At this time, Lin Feng was looking at them steadily. Of course, he knew that several roommates should have sent messages to their girlfriends to ask about the situation. After all, their girlfriends are all Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends. Asking Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends is the best. However, asking Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends so suddenly, I believe her girlfriends will definitely ask her curiously. I don't know if Zhang Yuxi can react, thinking of what she agreed with Lin Feng last night. At this time, on the other side, Li was playing with her mobile phone secretly. Then she received a message from her boyfriend Suhi. She immediately clicked in to see. As soon as she found out that her boyfriend was talking about Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi quarreling, she suddenly lost her composure and looked incredible. Look, Suhi sent it. Li said in a low voice. At this time, Xiaoyu and Suanna came over and took a look. Oh my god. Is it true? Is it impossible? Xiaoyu also said in shock. It shouldn't be true. Will Lin Feng quarrel with Yuxi? Anyway, I don't believe it. Suanna said. At this time, Zhang Yuxi's roommates and girlfriends were discussing it. They also didn't dare to believe that Lin Feng would quarrel with Zhang Yuxi. They felt incredible just like Lin Feng's roommates and brothers. After hearing it, their first reaction was to be shocked and even thought it was impossible. Why don't we ask Yuxi? Is it true? What happened? Li said in a low voice. I think it's okay. But it's class time now, it's not easy to ask. Yuxi won't even check her phone if you send a message. Xiaoyu said. Wait, ask after class. I don't think Yuxi is in the state like she had a quarrel with Lin Feng. Suanna also said. It makes me curious. Let's ask after class. Li said. After all, she was too noisy in the last class and the teacher reminded her twice, so she didn't dare to be too noisy in this class. Otherwise, if the teacher reminded her again, she would be really embarrassed. And it's not appropriate to do this again and again, it seems a bit disrespectful to the teacher. Even though she wanted to ask Zhang Yuxi whether she had a quarrel with Lin Feng and wanted to confirm it immediately, she held back because it was class time. And the main reason was that she didn't want to disturb Zhang Yuxi's study. So it's not impossible to wait patiently until the end of this class. So, she replied to her boyfriend Suhi. Tell Suhi that she still doesn't know the specific situation. I wonder if Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi really had a fight? I'll ask Zhang Yuxi about it when the class is over. Because of this, Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends didn't have the heart to attend class. They were all thinking about getting the get out of class over quickly so that they could ask Zhang Yuxi what happened. Why does this class feel so long? It doesn't feel so long normally. Xiaoyu said in a low voice. That's right. Count the time and it feels like only a few minutes have passed. Li said helplessly. That's because we have something on our minds. Don't keep looking at the time. Otherwise, the more you look at it, the longer it will feel. There are still more than 10 minutes before the get out of class is over. Suanna said. Hey, that's because you have something to ask? So you just want to get the get out of class over quickly. In the end, it feels like a century. Li complained impatiently. You are just impatient. Yuxi is here anyway. She won't go anywhere, just be patient and the get out of class will be over soon. Suanna said. Oh, you are worried about your sister. What if she really quarreled with Lin Feng? That means the matter must be serious. Otherwise, there would be no quarrel. Li said in a low voice. I think so too, otherwise why would Suhi ask? That means they all know. Xiaoyu said. What you said. Maybe it's just a small quarrel between lovers. I can't say it's serious, right? Suanna said. Among Zhang Yuxi's 3 girlfriends, Suanna is the calmest. Li and Xiaoyu are more excited and active, while Suanna's personality is more rational. This incident shows that she has always been in a more rational state and more patient, because being impatient can't solve the problem. Can something that can make Yuxi and Lin Feng quarrel be a small matter? Besides, it's a miracle that they can quarrel, isn't it? So I don't think it's that simple. Li said in a low voice. Okay, Wait a minute. Just ask Yuxi after class. It's useless for us to analyze it now. Suana smiled and said. At this time, Zhang Yuxi also found that several of her besties were discussing it in full swing, although they were all whispering to each other. But she still noticed it in front. However, she was used to this state of her bestie. After all, she was often very talkative during class and had endless things to say. Therefore, Zhang Yuxi was not surprised. It was just that she vaguely heard her bestie saying her name and Lin Feng's name. She was a little curious. What could be related to her and Lin Feng? On the other side, Li Yi couldn't hold it anymore. There were still 12 minutes before the end of get out of class. She couldn't wait until the end of get out of class. So, she wrote a sentence on a piece of paper. Yuxi, I heard from them that you had a fight with Lin Feng, right? Are you okay? After Li Yi wrote these two sentences, she asked Xiaoyu to pass it to Zhang Yuxi. Because she was closer to Zhang Yuxi. After Zhang Yuxi took the note, she was still confused. These little girls actually played the trick of passing the tissue. What are they planning to do? With doubts in her heart, Zhang Yuxi opened the tissue and took a look. After reading the note, Zhang Yuxi's mouth corners slightly raised, and she was already laughing secretly in her heart. Chapter 1515, Tricking Roommate. The roommate sitting behind her didn't notice Zhang Yuxi was laughing at all. They were still waiting for Zhang Yuxi to reply to the note. Zhang Yuxi thought to herself, it turned out that they were whispering just now because of this matter. No wonder she kept hearing her name and Lin Feng's name vaguely. She thought she had a quarrel with Lin Feng. But why did she think so? She came to school this morning for class, and she didn't mention anything when she came to the classroom. And the note said that they said she had a quarrel with Lin Feng? They? If she guessed correctly, they should be Lin Feng's roommates. Why would Lin Feng's roommates say that? There's only one possibility, that is, Lin Feng said it. And Lin Feng must have said it on purpose, because she and Lin Feng definitely didn't quarrel. Oh, right. It was last night. She and Lin Feng made an appointment to come to school today to tease them. Zhang Yuxi remembered what she and Lin Feng had agreed to last night. So that's it. This silly husband, she almost forgot about it. I didn't expect that I was playing with a few brothers over there. Since it has already started, Zhang Yuxi had no choice but to cooperate. Zhang Yuxi thought silently in her heart. Yuxi Xiaoyu poked Zhang Yuxi with a pen and called out. Because Zhang Yuxi didn't reply to the note for a long time after reading it. So she picked up the pen and poked her to remind her. At this time, Zhang Yuxi quickly picked up the pen and wrote two sentences on the paper. Well, we had a fight. We had a fight last night and we haven't reconciled yet. It was just a short speech, and after writing it, she handed it to Xiaoyu behind her. Zhang Yuxi smiled secretly in her heart to see how her girlfriends and roommates would react. After Xiaoyu took the note, Li Yi couldn't hold back. She was very anxious to see what Zhang Yuxi replied. Hurry up, you, open it. Li Yi said excitedly and had to suppress her voice. Then, Xiaoyu approached Li Yi and opened the note to take a look. The next scene was the collective shock of the three people. Everyone had an incredible expression on their faces. Damn it! Li Yi said excitedly. At this time, she couldn't control her voice a little bit, and the word damn it was a little loud. Then the whole class looked at Li Yi in unison. Even the teacher on the podium frowned and shook his head, expressing some helplessness and speechlessness. Because it was Li Yi who was making noise in the class again. Even Suana and Xiaoyu beside her were covering their mouths and laughing. Because they didn't expect Li Yi to be so excited suddenly, and she was excited, and she was talking so loudly. Although they knew Li Yi's personality well enough, her behavior just now was beyond their expectations. Then they couldn't help laughing when they saw Li Yi suddenly become embarrassed. Zhang Yuxi, who was sitting in front, was obviously calmer, although she was already laughing secretly in her heart. But she still didn't show it on her face, and looked very calm. After all, she was used to what her best friend was like. At this time, Li Yi was also embarrassed, because she didn't remind her twice in the first class just now. As a result, she couldn't control it just now. The main reason was that she saw the content of Zhang Yuxi's reply note, and suddenly she was so anxious that she forgot that it was still class time. She was still whispering in a low voice, but she couldn't control herself. Teacher, I'm sorry. Excuse me for interrupting you. Shut up. Li Yi said with an embarrassed look on her face. Before the teacher could speak, she apologized first. I don't want to hear sorry again. It's class time now, pay attention. The male teacher still spoke calmly. He saw that Li Yi took the initiative to admit her mistake and apologize, so he didn't waste time pursuing it. Okay, teacher. Li Yi replied immediately. At this time, the embarrassing scene just calmed down a little, and the teacher didn't pay too much attention to it. The students who were watching the show continued to listen to the class and do their own things. Only Su Anna and Xiaoyu were still immersed in the scene of Li Yi's embarrassment. You two damn girls. Don't hold back your laughter. Plastic sisters. Li Yi said with a red face and suppressed her voice. Hey. Who knew you were so excited? Su Anna said, covering her mouth. It's really Li Yi's style. It scared us too. Xiaoyu said deliberately jokingly. Stinky girl. Of course I forgot it was during class time. Li Yi muttered softly. Don't talk about me. Yuxi really quarreled with Lin Feng. It's incredible. Then Li Yi spoke. It seems that the matter should be quite serious. And Yuxi said so. It seems to be true. Xiaoyu said. Oh, let's talk to Yuxi after class. The get out of class will be over in a few minutes. Su Anna said slowly. At this time, after listening to Su Anna's words, Li Yi took out her mobile phone and sent a message to her boyfriend Suhi. We asked Yuxi. It was indeed a quarrel. I don't know the specific situation yet. Li Yi expressed it briefly in a few words, and then sent it to Suhi. On the other side, Suhi saw the message sent by his girlfriend Li Yi. He immediately showed the message to Chen Kun and the others around him. Look. This is true. The boss is not kidding. He really had a quarrel with his sister-in-law. Suhi said in a low voice. I believe it now. Just now I thought it was impossible. Now the girls have said it. This is almost certain. Chen Dongyun said. I'm going to finish the get out of class. Ask the boss later. Chen Kun looked at the time and said. But. The boss should be in a bad mood, right? Is it appropriate to ask too many questions? After all, he saw Lin Feng's expressionless face, and his mood was heavy, and he didn't feel any relief. So Chen Dongyun was still a little worried. Chen Dongyun said. As a brother, it's okay to show some concern. What's more, he can quarrel with his sister-in-law. It should be a serious matter. Chen Kun said slowly. As Lin Feng's brother, he quarreled with Zhang Yuxi, which is not a trivial matter. So he still has to show some concern about what happened. I want to ask Lin Feng if there is anything he can help with. At this time, Raymond Lam was still trying his best to control his expression. Since he had to act to the end. So he still had to show his current mood, which was extremely solemn. This made these brothers more convinced that he had quarreled with Zhang Yuxi. Today, he and Zhang Yuxi would teach them a lesson. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1516, A Cobbler Teaches Huge Liang. Ding ling ling. Ding ling ling. Just then, the bell for the end of class rang. The classroom suddenly became noisy, and the students walked around. Chen Kun and the others should not be able to hold back. They immediately ran to Lin Feng's seat. Zhang Anmin, make way. I'll borrow your seat for a while. Chen Kun patted Zhang Anmin on the shoulder and said. Zhang Anmin also stood up from his seat very tactfully. You're welcome. You guys chat? Zhang Anmin said as he left his seat. Then he walked out of the classroom with other students. Boss. What happened? Why did you quarrel with your sister-in-law? Chen Kun asked. Yes, boss. This shouldn't be. You and your sister-in-law have never quarreled before, why did you quarrel this time? Suhi also said. If you quarrel, then quarrel. Nothing. She quarreled with me, and I can't do anything about it. Lin Feng pretended to have a cold tone and said. It was this attitude that made Lin Feng's roommates feel uneasy. They couldn't help but worry. No way. Sister-in-law is usually such a gentle person. I've never seen her blush. You are even less likely to quarrel with her. Suhi said. Yes, we brothers all know how good sister-in-law's personality is. Boss, did you do something wrong? Chen Kun also said. Yes, boss. Why don't you apologize to sister-in-law during lunch? It's normal to quarrel, just take a step back. Chen Dongyun said. At this time, Lin Feng was laughing silently in his heart. He didn't expect that the fourth brother, the stinky boy, would actually teach him how to do it. A cobbler actually wants to teach us huge lying. After hearing what Chen Dongyan said, Lin Feng was already laughing to death in his heart, but he still didn't show it on his face at all, otherwise he would be exposed. Is it normal to quarrel? You little brat. It's abnormal for the boss to quarrel with his sister-in-law. Everyone in the world may quarrel, but it's amazing for the boss to quarrel with his sister-in-law. Chen Kun retorted. But it's still right for you to ask the boss to apologize to his sister-in-law. And we don't need to teach you these things, right? The boss knows better than us. Chen Kun continued. Yes, boss, if you need any help, just tell me. Let's ask our girlfriend to counsel the sister-in-law. Maybe the sister-in-law will be in a good mood at noon and the matter will be over. Suhi said. Apologizing is useless. She came here to make trouble, I really can't do anything. So I'll treat everyone to a meal today. Lin Feng said slowly. He had sent a message to Zhang Yuxi this morning, planning to treat them to lunch at noon today. But Zhang Yuxi didn't look at her phone, so he just booked a better restaurant near the school. Next, it depends on how Zhang Yuxi performs at lunch. Okay, boss. I'll apologize to my sister-in-law when the time comes. I believe my sister-in-law won't care about it anymore. Chen Kun said. You don't know how fierce she was last night. Hey. Lin Feng pretended to sigh. Isn't it possible? My sister-in-law usually has a good temper. You're more likely to be fierce to her, right? Suhi said with a look of disbelief. After all, they all knew Zhang Yuxi's character to some extent. She was such a gentle person on weekdays, and she was also very decent and considerate to Lin Feng. They had never seen her get angry, let alone be fierce to Lin Feng. It was incredible that Zhang Yuxi quarreled with him. But now Lin Feng said that Zhang Yuxi was fierce to him, which made them even more unbelievable. It was impossible. What you said. Boss, you don't want to be fierce to your sister-in-law, okay? Chen Dongyan said immediately. They all saw how much Lin Feng doted on Zhang Yuxi. He was unwilling to let Zhang Yuxi suffer even a little bit of hardship, and he would never let Zhang Yuxi feel wronged. So Zhang Yuxi could not be mean to Lin Feng, and Lin Feng could not be mean to Zhang Yuxi either. Lin Feng was quiet at this moment, watching the brothers in front of him chattering non-stop in the cafe. He deliberately did not say too much, anyway, just let them know that he was quarreling with Zhang Yuxi. That's what I said. Isn't the boss quarreling with his sister-in-law now? Chen Dongyan looked at Lin Feng's face and spoke carefully. As soon as he said this, Chen Kun and Suhi immediately fell silent, feeling that what Chen Dongyan said was not wrong. Suddenly, he didn't know how to respond. Anyway, boss, if you need any cooperation from the brothers, just say it. Besides, the sister-in-law is a very generous person and will forgive you. Suhi said slowly. Lin Feng had been trying his best to restrain himself from laughing, so there was no personal flaw on his face. But in fact, he couldn't help laughing in his heart. These few idiots. They don't even know what he and Zhang Yuxi quarreled about, but they said that Zhang Yuxi would forgive him. It really made him laugh and cry. The point is that none of these idiot brothers asked him what he quarreled with Zhang Yuxi about. At first, Lin Feng deliberately avoided answering because he didn't want to be too specific. After all, he didn't really quarrel with Zhang Yuxi because of a certain thing, so he deliberately said it in a more general way. Otherwise, the more he said, the more confused things would be, and he wouldn't be able to make it round when the time comes. And he is not with Zhang Yuxi now, so there is no guarantee that he and Zhang Yuxi are talking about the same thing. Zhang Yuxi will talk about other things with her girlfriends later, and the thing that Lin Feng told his brothers was exposed during lunch. To be on the safe side, it is better to be ambiguous and not to be too comprehensive. On the other side, when the bell rang for the end of get out of class, several of Zhang Yuxi's roommates and girlfriends couldn't wait to come to her side to ask. Because they also wanted to know if the matter was true and why. Yuxi, what's wrong? Why did you quarrel with Lin Feng? Is it true? Li Yi asked quickly. Yes, goddess, how could you quarrel with Lin Feng? We all know how much he dotes on you. Xiaoyu also said. Yesterday was 520, did Lin Feng do something wrong? Suanna said. These girlfriends were already very anxious, but Zhang Yuxi was still sitting very calmly, listening to her girlfriends quietly. Because everyone was talking one sentence at a time, she couldn't get a word in. Chapter 1517 The one who tied the bell must untie it. Yuxi, it's okay, just say it. If Lin Feng dares to bully you, we sisters will never let him go. Li Yi said. Stinky girl, do you think Lin Feng would be willing to bully Yuxi? I don't really believe it. Lin Feng is a well-known wife-loving maniac. Su Anna said. Yes, I think what Anna said makes sense. Usually, Lin Feng holds Yuxi in his palms and holds her in his mouth for fear that she will melt. It shouldn't make Yuxi angry. Xiaoyu thought about it and said. Let him do whatever he wants. Anyway, we had a big fight last night. No one paid attention to each other this morning. Zhang Yuxi said in a cold tone. She thought that she had to come out and say a few words at this time, otherwise her girlfriends would keep talking non-stop. Ah. Yuxi, is it that serious? Li Yi said again with a shocked look on her face. No way. I don't think it's your style at all. Lin Feng has never even spoken loudly to you, and you are arguing so fiercely. Su Anna said. After all, these friends all know how Lin Feng treats and takes care of Zhang Yuxi in normal days. Lin Feng has always doted on Zhang Yuxi and never spoke loudly to her, so it should be impossible for him to lose his temper. It's not just Lin Feng. Our Yuxi is also famous for being gentle and considerate. She has a good temper. It's even more impossible for her to get angry with Lin Feng. Xiaoyu also said excitedly. Oh, the problem now is that Lin Feng and Yuxi are quarreling. Then it must be Lin Feng's fault. Otherwise, how could our Yuxi be angry? Li Yi said. She was a little stubborn and spoke anxiously for Zhang Yuxi. After all, they are sisters. If the matter was true, she could stand on Zhang Yuxi's side. Silly girl, what else? Are you going to beat Lin Feng up? Su Anna said relatively calmly. Anyway, I don't care. At worst, I will break up with Suhi. After all, they are brothers. But Yuxi and I are also sisters. Li Yi said all at once. Zhang Yuxi almost couldn't help laughing when she heard what Li Yi said. Fortunately, she was quick to pretend to cover her head and then laughed secretly. Because this silly bestie was really funny. She didn't even plan to have a boyfriend for her. This made Suhi so disappointed that she almost laughed to death. Puff. Sister, please stop being funny, okay? We are here to solve the problem, not to add fuel to the fire. Xiaoyu couldn't help laughing and said. We are naturally on Yuxi's side. But it's normal for couples to quarrel. Although it's really abnormal for Yuxi and Lin Feng. Lin Feng shouldn't dare to do this to Yuxi. Su Anna said slowly. And now it's us who are talking all the time. Yuxi, the person involved, hasn't said anything yet. We are talking all the time. Then Su Anna continued to speak. Among the three besties, Su Anna is the more rational one. Her thoughts and personality are more stable, compared to Li Yi and Xiaoyu. But it was true. The whole time, it was these girlfriends who kept talking. Li Yi was anxious to defend Zhang Yuxi. But the whole story was not clear yet. Sure enough, it was exactly the same as when Lin Feng told his brothers. The two parties tried to remain silent, and their depressed mood was written on their faces. I don't know either. He and I had a big fight for no reason yesterday. The main reason was that he was like eating dynamite last night. Zhang Yuxi said slowly, pretending to use an impatient tone. Lin Feng is a very stable person. And you are the same. You can't find anyone more gentle than you. Did something happen? Or did he fall in love with someone else? No way. Li Yi said a lot of words excitedly. Yi, don't talk nonsense. You are talking nonsense. You don't even know what happened. Su Anna said. Then I can't think of anything else. The only thing that could make the goddess so angry is that. Li Yi immediately became cautious and spoke. Hey, me too. Zhang Yuxi sighed and was about to say a few words when the class bell rang. Ding ling ling. Ding ling ling. At this time, the class bell rang again. Zhang Yuxi had no choice but to swallow her words, but it was just right. There was no need to say too much, but it would not be easy to be exposed when everyone gathered together after class. Zhang Yuxi and her friends had to sit back in their seats temporarily, and the next time was like a year. Of course, this was also the last class in the morning. After this class, it would be noon, and then Lin Feng would take them to have lunch together. At this time, Zhang Yuxi remembered to take out her mobile phone. Because it was the last class, she suddenly remembered whether Lin Feng would send her any messages. Usually there would be messages. So Zhang Yuxi took out her mobile phone from her bag and looked at it. There was a missed call, which was opened by Lin Feng. So she opened WeChat and looked at it. There were several messages from Lin Feng. After reading the messages, Zhang Yuxi roughly understood what Lin Feng meant. Today, Lin Feng booked a restaurant and invited everyone to have lunch together at noon. The time to test her acting skills also began. Then Zhang Yuxi replied to Lin Feng's message. "Honey, I got it. Go to class first." Zhang Yuxi replied briefly, then put her phone in her bag and continued to listen to the class. At this time, Zhang Yuxi's roommates and girlfriends also received messages from their boyfriends. They told them that Lin Feng would treat them to dinner today, so they would wait for them downstairs in the teaching building after class. Lin Feng's brothers also told their girlfriends to pay more attention to Zhang Yuxi and try their best to help Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi get back together. In particular, Sui specifically told his girlfriend Li Yi not to talk nonsense and be careful. After all, they saw that Lin Feng was not in a good state this morning and was in a bad mood, so they tried not to provoke him. They thought that the person who tied the bell needed the person who tied it to untie it. So only Zhang Yuxi was good, and Lin Feng's mood improved. And Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends also knew their boyfriend's intentions. So they were all waiting patiently for the get-out-of-class trend. However, in fact, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi did not feel uncomfortable at all at this moment, and were unusually relaxed. Because their friends believed what they said. That's what's fun. Chapter 1518 Adding fuel to the fire. Time passed by minute. Finally, the bell for the last class rang. It was exactly 12 o'clock at noon. The students left the classroom in a bustling manner. Zhang Yuxi was packing her textbooks leisurely. Several of her girlfriends had already packed their things in advance when there were still a few minutes before the get-out-of-class ended. As soon as the teacher said the get-out-of-class was over, they couldn't hold back. They all ran to Zhang Yuxi's side. "Yuxi, Lin Feng will treat you to lunch today," Li Yi said. "Yes," Zhang Yuxi said, pretending to be indifferent. Seeing her like this, several girlfriends were not interested, without a smile, and they were a little worried. After all, it was the first time they saw Zhang Yuxi like this since they knew her. Her attitude was also very cold. Several girlfriends thought that she was in a bad mood because she had a quarrel with Lin Feng. Little did they know that Zhang Yuxi was actually acting, and she almost couldn't hold it back several times. "He probably wants to apologize. Let's go down together. They should be waiting for us downstairs," Xiaoana said. She felt that she looked a little cold on the surface, so she deliberately told Zhang Yuxi that Lin Feng wanted to apologize, hoping that these words would make Zhang Yuxi relax a little. "Don't care about him. If he doesn't invite me, I will treat you today. I don't really want to have dinner with him." Zhang Yuxi pretended to be expressionless and said, No, goddess, don't be angry. Calm down. Let's see what Lin Feng's attitude is first. He must admit his mistake." Suanna comforted. "Yes, Yuxi, if he doesn't have a good attitude, we sisters will not let him go." Li Yi also said. "Silly girl, why don't you let him go? What can I do? Fight. We can't beat him," Zhang Yuxi said lightly. When she said these words, she couldn't help wanting to laugh in her heart. "Hey, you can't lose even if you can't beat them in terms of momentum, and I believe Lin Feng wouldn't dare to hurt you." Li Yi smiled and said, "Let's go, let's talk while we go downstairs," Suanna said. Because Suanna was worried that if they continued to talk, Lin Feng and the others would wait downstairs for too long. And she herself was sure that Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi had quarreled. She also wanted to go downstairs as soon as possible to meet up with Lin Feng and the others, and then resolve the conflict between Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi as soon as possible. Afterwards, Zhang Yuxi went downstairs with a few of her girlfriends. On the other side, Lin Feng and his roommates were waiting for Zhang Yuxi and the others at the stairs downstairs of the teaching building. As soon as Zhang Yuxi and her girlfriends came downstairs, Lin Feng and his brothers all looked over. His brothers also consciously winked at their girlfriends. Seeing this scene, Zhang Yuxi almost couldn't hold it back, because it was indeed a bit funny. However, Lin Feng also winked at Zhang Yuxi, suggesting that she continue to act. "Lin Feng, I'm not saying anything bad about you. How can you quarrel with our goddess? You're wrong in this matter anyway." Li Yi couldn't help but speak after a while. "Yes, we are all on Yuxi's side today. You can't bully her." Xiaoyu also spoke up. "Hey, Lin Feng invited us to dinner today, isn't it just to take this opportunity to apologize?" Suanna said slowly. Yes, sister-in-law, don't worry. The boss is not that kind of person. He probably encountered something, so he quarreled with you. We just talked about him. He said. Not that kind of person? What kind of person? Zhang Yuxi was stunned and felt inexplicably funny when she heard it, but she couldn't show it. Lin Feng was also helpless at this time. What the hell is this stinky boy talking about? Now he and Zhang Yuxi have a problem, and then everyone is on Zhang Yuxi's side, speaking for her. However, this also illustrates a problem. In their minds, Zhang Yuxi would never be someone who would quarrel with Lin Feng without reason. This also reflects from the side that Zhang Yuxi is a very outstanding person in their eyes. Of course, the most important thing is that they are all friends, and they definitely don't want Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi to be unhappy. Although this incident itself was deliberately created by Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi. At this time, Lin Feng slowly walked towards Zhang Yuxi and wanted to hold her hand. But Zhang Yuxi immediately shook her hand away. She walked to the side and ignored Lin Feng. Of course, she was acting for them now, not really. Then Lin Feng immediately cooperated with Zhang Yuxi's acting skills. Wife, what's wrong with you again? Don't be angry, I was wrong, isn't it okay? Lin Feng pretended to be friendly and said. In his 2 sentences, he also deliberately carried some straight male attitudes. For example, what's wrong with you? For example, I was wrong, isn't it okay? Again? Still? For girls in love, she would rather not have such an apology. These words represent an extremely impatient tone. It is simply adding fuel to the fire on the original basis. Of course, this is also a common problem in the way many boys in love talk. This can easily cause more conflicts between the two. At this time, several of Lin Feng's brothers and Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends dared to speak out. Because they had already felt that the atmosphere between Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi was not right. However, Zhang Yuxi's roommates and girlfriends heard the 2 sentences Lin Feng just said. Some of them couldn't hold back. Although everyone's boyfriend signaled not to talk nonsense. But Li Yi, a direct person, couldn't control it. Lin Feng, what you said is wrong. What do you mean, what's wrong? Can't you apologize properly? Li Yi stood up for Zhang Yuxi. He shouted, and then pulled her to his side. Hey, don't touch me. Li Yi said. Say less. Let the boss solve it first. He said in a low voice. Do you think his tone of voice looks like he wants to solve it? I get angry just listening to it, let alone Yuxi. Li Yi said a little unhappy. Okay. We shouldn't get involved too much. After all, it's the couple's business. He explained. I don't care. Bullying Yuxi is bullying me. Li Yi said, not to be outdone. He suddenly didn't know what to say and was a little speechless. However, his girlfriend should be more tolerant. After all, the most important thing now is that the matter between Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi has not been resolved. Of course, Li Yi is not being unreasonable, but is more loyal. After all, she is Zhang Yuxi's best friend, so she naturally speaks for Zhang Yuxi. How can you stand idly by when your sister is bullied? Chapter 1519, Conflicts Intensify. At this time, Xiaoyu and Suanna on the side were also not calm. After all, as girls, they felt very uncomfortable when they heard the tone of Lin Feng's 2 sentences. If you want to apologize, just apologize properly. Why do you feel that you blame Zhang Yuxi instead? What's wrong with you? It means that Zhang Yuxi must accept his kindness and his apology. Zhang Yuxi is not angry at all, so it is normal for her not to pay attention to Lin Feng at this time. How can you say what's wrong with her? Why can't you change it to, what's wrong? Are you still angry? Would the tone be a little more relaxed? Isn't it okay to say I was wrong? What kind of confusing statement is this? Isn't it okay to just say I was wrong? Why add another one? Suanna and Xiaoyu were both in their minds, carefully analyzing what Lin Feng said. Instead, they brought themselves into it and felt very uncomfortable in an instant. As girls, they were uncomfortable hearing these 2 sentences, let alone Zhang Yuxi. I guess it was just adding fuel to the fire. Lin Feng, apologize, be nicer. Suanna couldn't control herself anymore and reminded him. Hey, I apologized last night, but it was useless. I didn't know girls could stay angry for so long. Lin Feng shook his head pretending to be helpless and said. Is this overnight anger? Then you have to spend more time thinking about it. For girls, overnight anger is the most uncomfortable. With the tone you used just now, it's strange that she can forgive you. Suanna continued to speak. Hey, let's go, Let's go eat first. Let's talk about it after lunch. I've booked a restaurant. Lin Feng said to everyone. Wife, I was wrong. Please forgive me for the time being and eat first. Only when you are full can you have the energy to be angry. Lin Feng said with a humorous tone. Zhang Yuxi still didn't respond to Lin Feng. Of course, her current behavior was intentional. She was acting in front of everyone. However, acting is acting, and you still have to eat, and she is also very hungry. Besides, all the friends were here and they all had to eat. They couldn't let her and Lin Feng's fake quarrel affect their meal. This was a bit unreasonable. So Zhang Yuxi followed Lin Feng to the restaurant they had booked. Chen Kun and others drove there separately. On the way to the restaurant, the few people started discussing again. Don't you think it's strange? Why would Lin Feng talk to Yuxi in this tone? I don't think he's like that at all. Suanna said quite rationally. It's a bit strange indeed. The boss was a bit abnormal today. He never treats his sister-in-law like this. Chen Kun said. Yes, they are two different people. What happened to make them become like this? Xiaoyu said. Maybe they had a serious quarrel last night. Besides, the boss usually pampers his sister-in-law, and his sister-in-law has a very good personality. It's really not right today. Chen Dongyun said. So love will disappear, right? Li Yi suddenly said something nonsensical. Her boyfriend Suhi didn't know how to respond. Ha 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 ha. There was a sudden burst of laughter in the car. Yi, can you please stop saying something inexplicable? Too funny. Suanna smiled and said. We are analyzing it, you are just talking nonsense. Xiaoyu also said. Oh, that's right. Did you love Yuxi so much before? Why did your attitude change 360 degrees now? That doesn't mean you don't love her that much? Li Yi continued to speak. That's not to the point of. I just feel something is weird. But I can't put my finger on it. Since I knew that Lin Feng and Yuxi had a quarrel this morning. I still don't quite believe it. Suanna thought for a while and said. You saw the scene just now. It's not a quarrel, what else can it be? Li Yi said. We don't understand it now. And it's not good to get involved too much. Let them solve it themselves first. Suhi said slowly. He thought that maybe the two of them would reconcile when they went to the restaurant for dinner later. Maybe now on the way to the restaurant, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi may have reconciled. Just as Suhi thought, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi were talking and laughing in the car. As the saying goes, reconciled, to be precise, the two had always been fine. It's just that these brothers and girlfriends were all in the dark. Ha 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 ha. Honey, I was dying of suffocation this morning. It's so funny to see their expressions. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. At this moment, she could finally laugh out loud. Wife, your acting is great. You are the future queen of the movie. Lin Feng also smiled and said. Oh, mutual, you also have a share in the future actor, Zhang Yuxi said playfully. These guys were more excited than me this morning. I was worried that my wife forgot. That means it's over before it even started. But, my wife is really smart, she still remembers it. Lin Feng said with a doting look on his face. No, it's like this. After class, they asked me if I had a fight with you. Then, I didn't quite understand why they asked me that. Then I thought about it at the speed of light. It was about what we agreed to last night. Since you've already started, I'll cooperate. Zhang Yuxi explained. Chen Kun and the others didn't quite believe it at first. Then the class bell just happened to ring, so they sent messages to their girlfriends. After all, they're all your best friends, so they should understand. Lin Feng said slowly. Hey. They did the same. At first, I admitted that we had a fight. Everyone looked incredulous. They couldn't believe that we would actually have a fight. Zhang Yuxi said excitedly. Wife, let's play them after we finish eating. Fight harder. Lin Feng said playfully. Mainly because he wanted to tease these guys. Ha ha ha. They will probably be scared. They won't dare to talk then. But wait until they finish their meal. Zhang Yuxi smiled and spoke. After all, they still had to eat their fill, otherwise the meal would be in vain. Because if she and Lin Feng pretended to quarrel, they wouldn't dare to eat at the table. So she took advantage of everyone's fullness to intensify the conflict, and then confessed the whole story to them. Chapter 1520, Fighting for My Best Friend. Wife, then you give me a look later. Then I will deliberately say something unpleasant. Then you can play freely. Lin Feng said. I am going to be fierce. I'm going to lose my temper, Zhang Yuxi said mischievously. Lin Feng was driving and was amused by Zhang Yuxi's cute look. Silly wife, if you're like this. But you are not fierce at all. Then they won't believe it. Lin Feng said in a doting tone. Oh, it hasn't started yet, of course you can't be so gentle. I'm going to be fierce. Zhang Yuxi said. You can do it, wife. It depends on your acting skills. Lin Feng said. No problem, Zhang Yuxi said with a confident face. Although she was almost exposed several times this morning, she still held back. And from this morning to now, Lin Feng's brothers and Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends have completely believed that the two of them had a quarrel. After a while, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi came downstairs of the restaurant. Then Chen Kun and the others followed in the car. Then Lin Feng found a good spot and parked the car. Wife, let's start. I won't hold your hand. Lin Feng said. Got it, you're allowed to be rash today. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. Then Lin Feng got out of the car directly, and Zhang Yuxi followed closely. Lin Feng did not hold Zhang Yuxi's hand. In the past, he would hold Zhang Yuxi's hand immediately. No matter where he went or what he did, as long as Zhang Yuxi was by his side, he would hold Zhang Yuxi's hand tightly. But today, for the sake of acting, he did not hold her hand. Boss. Chen Kun and the others came over and said. Yuxi, are you okay? Li Yi asked. Because she saw Zhang Yuxi still look depressed after getting out of the car. She could feel that she was in a very bad mood. That meant that she and Lin Feng had not solved the problem along the way. Moreover, the atmosphere did not ease at all, and she felt that it was even more serious. Did she quarrel with Lin Feng again in the car? So she asked Zhang Yuxi immediately. I'm fine. Zhang Yuxi just replied briefly. Are you hungry? Sorry, I was delayed for a while because of something. Then Zhang Yuxi continued to speak. It's okay, sister-in-law. Chen Kun said immediately. Yes, sister-in-law, we are not hungry. Chen Dongyun also said very tactfully. Sister-in-law, you are polite. Sui smiled awkwardly and said. Of course, Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends were not to be outdone. Yuxi, don't say that. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Suana said. Yes, your happiness is the most important thing. Li Yi also said. Anyway, Lin Feng is treating us today. It's okay to eat later. Xiaoyu said. After listening to everyone's words, Zhang Yuxi couldn't help laughing in her heart. Unexpectedly, she just pretended to say a few words, but everyone became polite to her and comforted her. It was a bit heartwarming and a bit funny. Let's go. Lin Feng said lightly at this time. Then he walked in front and went straight to the restaurant by himself. He didn't care about Zhang Yuxi at all. In fact, he was still reluctant to do this in his heart. After all, he doted on Zhang Yuxi so much. They always held hands wherever they went, and they didn't hold hands today. He was really not used to it. But for the sake of the acting effect, he had to endure it. And Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends also discovered this detail. Because in normal times, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi have always been inseparable. They would hold hands when they met, mainly because Lin Feng took the initiative every time. Why did they have their own way this time, and Lin Feng didn't answer Zhang Yuxi? Lin Feng, what do you mean? You weren't like this before. You don't even hold Yuxi's hand now, right? Li Yi said a little unhappy. Yet, are you guys so fickle? I thought you loved Yuxi so much? This time Xiaoyu couldn't help but complain. Hey, tisk. Sui immediately followed Li Yi and winked and said. No, boss, they are best friends after all. So it's normal to fight for justice. Sui said with an awkward smile. Yes, boss. Girls are more likely to resonate. Chen Kun also said. I'm telling the truth. I'm just asking you, did he hold Yuxi's hand wherever he went before? I've teased him about this before. Why? Is it like this after a quarrel today? Li Yi said unconvinced. Forget it, I won't say it anymore. It's okay, I'll go with you. Zhang Yuxi said slowly at this time. Because if she didn't speak again, Li Yi's personality would not let it go. And Zhang Yuxi also knew that Li Yi was a very impulsive and loyal person. Today, when she saw Zhang Yuxi being wronged, she would naturally fight for justice. And she is more direct, the kind of person who gets angry easily, and is easily impulsive. Zhang Yuxi spoke at this time. She also wanted to suppress Li Yi's temper a little. After all, she didn't want her to really confront Lin Feng. So Lin Feng would not do this, because he and Zhang Yuxi were not really quarreling. He was just teasing them and seeing their reactions. After all, Lin Feng did not treat them to such a high-end lunch for nothing. On the other side, He was also persuading his girlfriend Li Yi. Let her control herself a little. But seeing that Lin Feng was so excessive, how could she calm down? However, Zhang Yuxi just spoke, and Li Yi stopped a little. It's not that I don't want to hold her hand. She doesn't need me to hold her hand. Lin Feng said. Oh, mad? I'm so angry, so angry. Li Yi instantly flew into a rage. Baby, control yourself. He comforted her. However, Zhang Yuxi was touched by Li Yi's angry look. She almost couldn't help laughing again. It turned out that they were real besties. Yi, don't bother. I don't want to pay attention to him. Zhang Yuxi said, pretending to be angry. You see. So. Lin Feng spread his hands and pretended to be helpless. In comparison, Su Anna and Xia Anna were calmer. Although they also felt that Lin Feng was very annoying and his behavior was excessive. But they could still control themselves. After all, Zhang Yuxi hadn't spoken yet, so they didn't dare to say more. They were afraid of adding fuel to the fire and causing more trouble. Then everyone followed Lin Feng into the restaurant. Chapter 1521 Breaking Up. Because Lin Feng had reserved a seat in advance when he was in class this morning. So, he sat down directly at the window seat. And Lin Feng had already ordered a set meal in advance. Because there were more people, if they ordered a set meal directly, there would be more dishes and it would be more comprehensive. In this way, they could all eat a little bit of each dish. So when they came to the restaurant, they didn't need to order dishes anymore. The waiter would serve the dishes directly. Yuxi, you sit next to Lin Feng. Su Anna said. Boss, come and sit here, sister-in-law sit here. Chen Kun also said very tactfully. They were all doing the work of peacemakers today, and they couldn't be neglected at all. Wife, come here. Lin Feng still said with a good attitude. After all, he couldn't act too much, otherwise it would cause public outrage again. It was just time to eat, so he had a good meal first. And Zhang Yuxi immediately understood what Lin Feng meant. So she walked over and sat down next to Lin Feng. But she still looked unhappy. After all, she still had to be angry. But now the dishes have been served, let the friends have a good meal first. Otherwise, the unhappiness between her and Raymond Lam will affect their meal. Then everyone started to eat. But the atmosphere was still a little unusual. Boss, today's dishes are delicious. This time the fish is much more delicious than last time. Chen Kun said to ease the atmosphere. Yes, I think so too. This time it's more tender. Chen Dongyun also echoed. Indeed. Today's spare ribs are also delicious. Suhi also joined in, saying something. Really? Why don't I think so? Li Yi said lightly. I don't think so either. Same taste. Xia Yu also immediately refuted. In fact, the taste hasn't changed. Su Anna said more cleverly. She just wanted to find a topic for Raymond Lam's brothers to talk about. After all, it was a bit awkward if everyone was talking. But it was not easy to say anything at this juncture, so she chose a not-so-good topic to start the conversation. Naturally, the girls immediately refuted, or it could be said that they were telling the truth. Because the taste of the dishes really didn't change. The main reason was that they were all shocked and didn't know what to do. After all, in the eyes of these friends, Raymond Lam and Zhang Yuxi are really a perfect match. They are a match made in heaven. Period. If either of them were to replace each other, it would be inharmonious. And how many people envied the relationship between Raymond Lam and Zhang Yuxi before? They were really a pair of fairy lovers in school. Raymond Lam is a famous wife-loving maniac, and Zhang Yuxi is also a famous husband-protecting maniac. No one dared to question the relationship between Raymond Lam and Zhang Yuxi. It's more real than pearls. Why did it become like this today? Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends also had a lot of doubts in their hearts. Not to mention Raymond Lam's brothers and roommates, their feelings were the same as those of their girlfriends. They were confused and confused. At this time, everyone had almost finished eating, so Raymond Lam deliberately said some irritating words. This way, Zhang Yuxi could continue. Zhang Yuxi also saw that her friends were full, so she deliberately got angry. Because last night, Raymond Lam said that he didn't know what she would be like when she was fierce. No one would believe it, because they had never seen Zhang Yuxi angry, let alone fierce. So the two of them discussed to teach them a lesson today. Okay. Zhang Yuxi, You have a good temper now. Break up if you want to. Lin Feng deliberately said angrily. You are even better, right? You call me by my name. Then goodbye. Zhang Yuxi continued to cooperate with her acting and said. Oh my god, it's a mess. Don't say angry words, both of you. Please. Li Yi said with a worried look on her face. Boss, don't be impulsive. Is there any problem that can't be solved? It's alright once it's solved. Chen Kun persuaded. Yes, boss. Give in, sister-in-law. Talk it over, don't talk about breaking up. Suhi also persuaded. Hey, what happened today? What did you two quarrel about? Suanna asked. Yes, boss, we all want to know. What's the matter with Yuxi? Tell us, we can solve it together. Everyone persuaded. Lin Feng's brothers and Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends are also very anxious now. They are worried about Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi. After all, it has come to the point of breaking up. You can imagine how serious the matter is. I don't think it's suitable for you. How come you become like this after not seeing each other for 2 days on the weekend? And we all know how much Lin Feng loves Yuxi. We also know how gentle Yuxi is. But why are you a completely different person today? Not like you guys at all. Suanna said very rationally. She felt that some things were not in line with the norm, and Lin Feng's attitude towards Zhang Yuxi today was even more abnormal. She thought about it and still felt that something was wrong. But when she saw Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi, they just said something very harsh. It doesn't seem fake. But her intuition was that this was not the true state of Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi. Indeed, I think so too. I learned about the quarrel between the boss and his sister-in-law this morning. I just think it's unlikely. Unless the sun rises from the west. Otherwise, do you think the boss would quarrel with his sister-in-law? Too incredible. Suhi also spoke calmly. Hey, is your analysis useful now? The problem is that you just saw their conversation. What else could this be but a quarrel? Is it just playing house? Li Yi said hotly. She really believed that Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi really quarreled. That's right, we hope that the boss and his sister-in-law are fine now. The boss should apologize to his sister-in-law seriously. If there's any problem, please tell her and see if we can solve it together. Everyone makes mistakes. I hope that his sister-in-law can forgive the boss. Chen Dongyun said seriously. Hey. So he shook his head and sighed. He thought that this silly girlfriend would always be stubborn and would not think about problems from multiple perspectives. Because he felt that Zhang Yuxi was wronged, he was also hot-headed and sided with Zhang Yuxi. Haven't figured out what the two people quarreled about? And didn't they feel that Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi were particularly abnormal today? So, is there a possibility that Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi were deliberately teasing them? Suhi made a bold guess. However, Suhi's guess was also the idea of Suanna, one of Zhang Yuxi's best friends. Because she was indeed very calm from the beginning. When she first knew that Zhang Yuxi and Lin Feng quarreled, she didn't believe it immediately. And she felt incredible. It can be said that it is impossible to happen. So compared to the excited reactions of Zhang Yuxi's other two best friends Xiaoyu and Li Yi in class this morning, Suanna was very calm. And she is also the most rational among Zhang Yuxi's 3 roommates. Anyway, Zhang Yuxi's observation ability is the first, and Suanna must be behind. In fact, there is another point that Suanna has always taken Zhang Yuxi as a role model and a direction for learning and progress. Chapter 1522 A friend worth making friends with. In Suanna's mind, Zhang Yuxi is a very good girl. So she has always followed Zhang Yuxi's footsteps, so when something happens, she is much calmer than the other 2 girlfriends. Generally, when Zhang Yuxi is not at school, Suanna will be responsible for everything. Compared with the other 2 girlfriends, Suanna is a little more reliable. She is also relatively calm in character and has a little bit of opinion. Therefore, Zhang Yuxi is more relieved to let Suanna handle things. Of course, the other 2 girlfriends also have their advantages. In addition to being a little impatient and impulsive, Xiaoyu and Li Yi are very direct and straightforward girls. They will not hide anything and are not petty. And they are very loyal, which can be seen from the very bad attitude of Lin Feng towards Zhang Yuxi. He directly came forward to defend Zhang Yuxi. In short, Zhang Yuxi's roommates and girlfriends have their own advantages, and they are all very worthy of deep friendship. Among Lin Feng's roommates and brothers, Suhi is relatively rational. He has the same personality as Zhang Yuxi's best friend Suanna. No matter what happens, he will not rush to make judgments and is more rational. However, He also has a shortcoming, which is that he is not decisive enough. When encountering things, he will retreat more easily and will not express directly. He is a bit timid and is quite cautious in life. Just like he had a bold guess just now. The quarrel between Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi may be fake. It is not a real quarrel, but just to tease them. But he only thinks so in his heart and does not express it directly. This is the opposite of his girlfriend Li Yi. So the two people are still a little different in character. Li Yi is more direct and sometimes does not think too much. It just happens that she can complement Suhi together. In this way, Li Yi is usually impulsive, and Suhi will control it. However, Suhi sometimes likes his girlfriend Li Yi's personality. She says everything directly, but she is too cautious compared to himself. On the contrary, she is not good at some things. Therefore, if there is anything that needs to be handled by Lin Feng, it will be handed over to the second brother Chen Kun. First of all, Raymond Lam will notify the second brother, Chen Kun, first. Because in terms of personality, Chen Kun has a big advantage. He's thick-skinned, humorous, and bold. Although Chen Kun has deep thoughts in his heart, at least he speaks his mind and expresses it boldly. In fact, Chen Kun and Suhi have complementary personalities. Suhi is a person who has ideas but is cautious. Chen Kun is a person who is not so comprehensive but decisive. Of course, there is also the fourth brother, Chen Donggyun. Chen Donggyun is a person who basically listens to Raymond Lam completely. He does not have any ideas or opinions, but he believes in what Raymond Lam says. He will only agree with what Raymond Lam thinks is right. But one good thing is that Chen Donggyun is more sincere and real. He never speaks big words and is more down to earth. So when Raymond Lam is not at school, Chen Kun is the main person in charge. Usually, when there are things that need to be solved in the company, when Raymond Lam is away, Chen Kun will take the lead in solving them. So he is an assistant. After all, his brain is really good. In short, Lin Feng's roommates are all pretty good at dealing with people, because after knowing Lin Feng, he also taught them a lot of things. The main thing is that these brothers have good personalities, get along well, and everyone can joke around. And the most important thing is that they have no problems with character, and they have some economic sense. In this way, Lin Feng can safely hand over many amateur aspects to them. Although they have not reached the level of Lin Feng. But under his leadership, these brothers have made more and more progress. After all, no one has appeared who can be compared with Lin Feng. Because Lin Feng's excellence is not something that ordinary people can reach. Just now, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi listened to what Suhi and Suanna said. They couldn't help but want to laugh in their hearts. After all, there are always two people who are more sober. Now I have begun to believe that Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi quarreled. As a result, after Suhi and Suanna talked, Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi secretly exchanged glances. Yet, everyone probably didn't believe it at first, right? Did we see the eldest brother and his sister-in-law doing that later? It feels like there's a real conflict. And it's pretty serious. Xiaoyu said slowly. Yet, I saw the tone of Lin Feng talking to Yuxi. It's obviously wrong. I'm a little annoyed, treating Yuxi like that. Li Yi also said. But then again, I think what the third brother and Suanna said makes sense. We don't know what the eldest brother and his sister-in-law quarreled about yet. And it's so serious. The most important thing is that this is not something the eldest brother and his sister-in-law would do at all. It's amazing that a quarrel like this would happen to you too. Chen Kun said. He was now looking at this matter more rationally. Because Suhi and Suanna had said those words just now. After thinking about it, he recalled that he knew about the quarrel between Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi in class in the morning. He found that it was indeed a bit incredible. And Lin Feng has been a bit wrong since he met Zhang Yuxi. The way he spoke, his attitude, etc. This is not the Raymond Lam that he knows. Because everyone knows that Raymond Lam will never let Zhang Yuxi suffer for a long time. He will not ignore her or talk to her in a bad attitude. Raymond Lam will only love, care for and pamper Zhang Yuxi more. His love for Zhang Yuxi will only increase and will not decrease. Chen Kun also thought about what he just said and found that it was a little abnormal. Yes, I felt something was wrong from the beginning. But I don't know how to say it. Suanna smiled and said. Her next sentence was that she almost wanted to say whether Raymond Lam and Zhang Yuxi teamed up to tease us. But when the words reached her throat, she swallowed them again. The main reason was that Suanna was not 100% sure that her guess was right. What if she was wrong? Then she said the wrong thing? After all, Her best friend Zhang Yuxi is still angry now. Suhi, who also had this guess on the other side, was more cautious. He saw that Suanna didn't say it, and he didn't say that sentence either. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1523 Future Oscar Winner. Are you thinking too much? Maybe they will be fine soon. It's normal to have conflicts. Right, goddess. Li said. At this time, she spoke to ease the atmosphere. Silly girl. What if I say that we can't possibly get back together? Zhang Yuxi deliberately said jokingly. In fact, she had been listening to everyone's analysis silently, and they were all very reasonable. And she found that these friends knew her and Lin Feng very well. It shows how Lin Feng treats her in daily life, or what kind of person she is. These brothers and girlfriends know very well. It's also hard for Suhi and Suanna to analyze so calmly. The key point is that their analysis is correct. Zhang Yuxi also felt that the two of them had guessed that the quarrel between her and Lin Feng was fake. It's just that these two people didn't want to speak up and expose this matter first. At this point, Zhang Yuxi felt that it was almost done. So, while everyone was discussing, Zhang Yuxi secretly picked up her phone and sent a message to Lin Feng. Honey, it's almost done. Give them a surprise. Zhang Yuxi put her phone back after sending the message. She continued to be a bystander, although she should be the one who has the most say in this matter. But it seems that throughout the whole process, it was Lin Feng's friends and Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends who were analyzing enthusiastically. Zhang Yuxi and Lin Feng had to be an audience, watching these people silently. After receiving Zhang Yuxi's message, Lin Feng took a look and understood what she meant. Then do something exciting to deliberately anger Zhang Yuxi, and then let them see how Zhang Yuxi looks fierce. Finally, end this matter. No way. Goddess, today is not April Fool's Day. This joke is not funny. Li was still shocked after hearing Zhang Yuxi's words, and hurriedly said, Yes, Yuxi. You and Lin Feng should be good to each other. You two are a perfect match. It would be a pity to break up. Xiaoyu also said a little excitedly. Don't say. I think she will find a more suitable one. Better than me. Lin Feng deliberately said. You said that, it's interesting. Zhang Yuxi pretended to be angry and said. Then she slammed the chopsticks in her hand on the table. In the end, everyone was shocked by these actions. That's it. Everyone, let's go. I don't have classes in the afternoon, I'm going back. Zhang Yuxi said expressionlessly. What's the matter? Lin Feng, why are you still provoking Yuxi? Are you sincere? Li said. Boss, sister-in-law, please talk nicely, don't say angry words. Chen Dongyun also said anxiously. Yuxi, don't we have physical education class in the afternoon? It seems to be preparing for the exam. Suanna said calmly. Because she had guessed that Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi were pretending to be angry. Zhang Yuxi said to Li before, what if I will never reconcile with Lin Feng? Just hearing this sentence, Suanna was more certain that the quarrel between Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi was fake. Because she found that Zhang Yuxi's expression was particularly relaxed when she said this, and there was a little joke. That's why she was sure of her idea. So when Lin Feng was behind and opposite Zhang Yuxi, she didn't have any surprises, but was very calm. In addition, there was a physical education class this afternoon, but Zhang Yuxi said there was no class. It can be seen that Zhang Yuxi said this on purpose. But Chen Dongyun and Li still didn't get it. Compared with Suhi and Suanna, the two of them were really too calm. Boss, it seems that this meal can't be eaten in vain. It made the brothers believe it. Suhi smiled and said. Yes, boss. This makes us experience a different feeling. Sister-in-law, such a gentle person can become like this. It really is the sun rising from the west. Chen Kun also said. More than that. Our goddess's acting skills are not bad. Who thought of this plot? Suanna also said slowly. On the other side, Chen Dongyun and Li were confused and had not yet recovered what they meant. Baby, you are really stupid. You still don't understand. Suhi said to his girlfriend Li with a doting look. What? Why has the style changed? Li said with a confused look. Ha ha ha. It's okay, the one in my family is still the most confused. Although I'm not very smart, I didn't expect that my family is not so good either. I feel worried about our future. Xiaoyu deliberately teased her boyfriend Chen Dongyun and said, ha 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 ha. Two negatives equal a positive. It would be nice if the child is smart in the future. Chen Kun said mischievously. Ha 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 ha. Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi couldn't help laughing. Then Lin Feng walked to Zhang Yuxi's side, holding her hand, with eyes full of doting. This. You guys. How did it get better? Li Yi said with a shocked expression. Damn it. I get it. The boss and his wife didn't quarrel at all. We were fooled by their acting. No wonder what you guys said just now. Ah, your brain is not working well. Chen Dongyun shook his head helplessly and said self-deprecatingly. He knew that his IQ had never been online, but he didn't expect it to be so offline, and his reaction was so slow. Are you stupid? At least I realized it later. You didn't even notice it. Oh, what can I do? Xiaoyu said with a smile. It's okay, the child will miss you in the future. You are smarter than me. Chen Dongyun said with a smile. Oh, Yuxi. I was fooled by you. I really believed it. You two actually deceived my feelings. You don't know how worried I was. Li Yi said. Pulang silly girl. Okay, I know. I'll take you guys out for afternoon tea this weekend. I'll treat you, you can eat whatever you want, okay? This is his compensation. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. Oh, I told you. How could our goddess lose her temper? I felt something was wrong this morning. Xiaoyu said. But if you think about it, Yuxi was a little abnormal this morning. Who told them to act so realistically? It made me believe it. Li Yi said. The boss can't bear to see his sister-in-law suffer grievances. So it's even more impossible to speak in that tone. I wonder if it was intentional. Suhi said. Yes, I was half believing and half doubting at the beginning. It's not something that would happen to these two people at all. Suanna also said. Boss, your acting is good. Chen Dongyun said. Future Oscar winner Zhang Yuxi also teased on the side. No, my wife is the queen of the screen, and I'm just a supporting actress. Raymond Lam deliberately said jokingly. Ha 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 ha. In an instant, everyone was happy again, laughing. Chapter 1524 full of desire to survive. Right, because of this incident, no one can have a lunch break today. Sorry, Zhang Yuxi said. Because after class, they lingered for a while downstairs of the teaching building before coming to the restaurant to eat. Then everyone ate slowly in the restaurant and chatted while eating. Time passed slowly like this. It is already past 1 in the afternoon. The afternoon class starts at 2:30. It will take some time for them to drive back to school, so it will be almost time. Naturally, there will be no lunch break. So at this time, Zhang Yuxi was very polite to explain to everyone. This is you. What the hell was that in front of you just now? Hey. Xiaoyu smiled and said. Yes, this is our goddess. Speaking softly it makes people want to protect Li Yi said. Lin Feng is enough to protect her alone. He doesn't want Yuxi to be wronged at all. Suanna said. You guys should study hard, especially you, brother Chen Kun. Then Suanna deliberately said jokingly. After saying that, she did not forget to pat her boyfriend Chen Kun beside her. Just kidding. Can anyone imitate the boss casually? It's good enough if you can get a little bit, he. Chen Kun said humorously as always. Yes, we will do our best. Sensible girlfriends know that they can't force. Chen Dongyun said jokingly. What did you say? Sensible girlfriends. So we are unaware, right? Xiaoyu said while pinching her boyfriend Chen Dongyun's ears. Oh my. It hurts. What I mean is that you are all very sensible. Chen Dongyun said with a strong desire to survive. I can't afford to offend her, Chen Dongyun is well known for being afraid of his wife. In terms of personality, he and his girlfriend Xiaoyu are somewhat complementary. Xiaoyu is a relatively cheerful and lively girl with a carefree temper and does not pay attention to details. In fact, logically speaking, these people are more afraid of their girlfriends. Lin Feng also listens to Zhang Yuxi very much and puts her first. Big things are discussed together, and Zhang Yuxi makes the decision on small things. As long as it is something Zhang Yuxi doesn't like, he will avoid it. Rather than saying that he is obedient, it is better to say that Lin Feng cares about Zhang Yuxi and respects her more. After all, when two people are together, they are no longer alone. If there is any problem, the other party should have the right to know and a sense of participation. This can also avoid many conflicts. It is important to make the other party feel that they are cared for. Ho ha ho ha. Everyone laughed lively. But, having said that, these few have made a lot of progress. Sometimes they were scolded by me. Lin Feng said slowly. He personally came out to say a few words for these brothers. I agree with this. It's really a big improvement. Seeing this, I can rest assured to leave these girlfriends to you. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. Since coming to college, Chen Kun and others have become roommates with Lin Feng, and finally became good brothers because of similar interests. This is also a rare fate. Along the way, Lin Feng will help these brothers. They have also learned a lot from Lin Feng, and it is really visible progress. Because Lin Feng and Zhang Yuxi are together, naturally his brothers are also together with Zhang Yuxi's girlfriends. What a wonderful thing. Of course, Zhang Yuxi is also very pleased to see that Lin Feng's brothers are getting better and better following Lin Feng's footsteps. After all, her girlfriends have also found a good home. That's true. Keep carrying it forward. Xiaoyu said with a smile. Don't worry. With a boss here, we will definitely not be bad. It will only get better. Chen Dongyun said. Okay, everyone has finished eating. Lin Feng said slowly. Then he looked at his watch. It was already 1:50. It was almost time to go back to school, because it was still more than 10 minutes away from the restaurant to the school. So it would be almost time for class if we go back to school now. I'm full. Boss, let's go back. Chen Kun said. I was full a long time ago. I was scared full by you too. Li Yi said jokingly. Yes, I went downstairs after class at noon. I was always nervous, afraid that Yuxi and Lin Feng would quarrel. I didn't expect it was intentional in the end. Xiaoyu said. Lin Feng, Yuxi will belong to us next weekend. She has to compensate us, so your wife is temporarily lent to us. Suana smiled and said. Can I go with my wife? After all, she can pay the bill. Lin Feng said deliberately jokingly. Oh, don't worry. I'll return it to you in good condition. Li Yi said. Ha 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 ha. We will swear to protect Yuxi at any time. Xiaoyu said jokingly. Tisk tisk tisk, this crazy woman. Why does my sister-in-law need your protection? 3 of us together are not as good as one boss. Chen Dongyun said. Oh, didn't I say that? Don't talk. Xiaoyu said to her boyfriend Chen Dongyun. Okay, go and have fun by yourselves. Just be safe. Now go back to school for class. Lin Feng said lightly. In fact, Lin Feng also said it casually on purpose, and he would not go with her. Because it was rare for Zhang Yuxi to have afternoon tea with her girlfriends, let her have fun with her friends. If you went, it would be a bit of a bummer, although Zhang Yuxi would not dislike it, and she would be just as happy with Lin Feng around. But he didn't have to participate in girls' gatherings. Zhang Yuxi also needs some personal space. And it's not like she's going somewhere else to be with other people. In that case, Lin Feng would definitely be worried and would not allow it. So whenever there was something that needed to be done outside, or when there was something to do, Lin Feng would take Zhang Yuxi with him. If Zhang Yuxi didn't want to move around, let her rest at home and wait for him to come back. As long as Zhang Yuxi needed him, he would rush to Zhang Yuxi's side as quickly as possible. Afterwards, Lin Feng took Zhang Yuxi back to school. Chen Kun also drove behind. After a while, it was already 2:15 when they returned to school, and there were still 15 minutes before class. Lin Feng found a parking lot and parked the car, and everyone got out of the car. Chapter 1525. My legs are weak. Wife, you guys go. After class, wait for me in the gymnasium, I'll pick you up. Lin Feng said with a gentle face. Because Zhang Yuxi's class in the afternoon is physical education, the class is in the school gymnasium. And Lin Feng's class is still a professional course, so he still has classes in the teaching building. The two are in different places, separated by such a long distance. After all, the university is very large. The gymnasium is on the west side of the school, and the teaching building where Lin Feng is located is on the east side of the school. One in the east and the other in the west, naturally they can't go together. Zhang Yuxi nodded obediently in response. Then she also tidied Lin Feng's clothes and hair very considerately. Afterwards, Lin Feng went to the classroom with several roommates and brothers to attend class. When leaving, he was reluctant to look back at Zhang Yuxi from time to time. Look, Lin Feng's eyes are full of Yuxi. Look at the one at my house. Hey. Xiaoyu said. Not only the one at home, okay. It's the same at my house. Don't even look back. Li Yi also complained. Wait. Does it include the one at home? Everyone is the same. We are all the same, Suanna said. Ha 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 ha. You three are singing the same tune. That doesn't mean anything. Zhang Yuxi smiled and said. No. No. Love is hidden in the little details. Xiaoyu said. Not loving is also true. Li Yi blurted out the sentence. So, does the one at home love me or not? Suanna said mischievously. It seems to love. It seems not to love either. Xiaoyu responded. Oh, my young ladies. Sing the same tune. Why are there so many messes? Do you still want to go to physical education class? Zhang Yuxi said. Ah. There are still 8 minutes before class. Hurry up. Xiaoyu looked at the time and screamed. Just talk. We will be late if we continue chatting. Zhang Yuxi said. Sisters. Run. Go. Li Yi screamed excitedly. Then Zhang Yuxi and a few of her best friends ran to the gymnasium. Because the school gymnasium is a little far from where they are now. Fortunately, everyone chose badminton when they chose their courses. In this way, everyone can still take classes together, otherwise they will have different classes in different venues in the gymnasium. 6 minutes later, Zhang Yuxi and a few of her best friends ran to the gymnasium downstairs panting. Help. I can't do it anymore. Li Yi said. My legs are weak. How many minutes are left? Xiaoyu said. Hold on a little longer. There's more than a minute until 2:30. Zhang Yuxi comforted. Because the badminton class they took was on the second floor, they still had to climb to the second floor. Oh. It's too painful. Suanna said helplessly. Go. 1 minute. Zhang Yuxi said. Then, everyone rushed to the second floor again. As soon as they stepped into the second floor, the bell for class rang. At this time, not only did they arrive on time, but many students from different classes also ran in one after another. Some students were even late and still outside the gymnasium. Because the elective courses such as physical education in college are all mixed with people from different classes. Everyone rushes to take classes at a unified time. But they are all students from the same department, so there are different classes taking classes together. Everyone is separated from the majority of the class. After all, some have chosen other physical education courses. For example, volleyball, basketball, football, tennis, dance, yoga, etc. Of course, there are also the same courses divided into several venues, and different teachers teach. Otherwise, there are really too many students. In fact, Zhang Yuxi planned to choose dance or yoga at the beginning. These two are her strengths and she likes them now. Although badminton is also very good for Zhang Yuxi, she is still very athletic. But because of the 3 girlfriends and roommates, she still chose badminton class. Because dance and yoga are a bit difficult for the 3 girlfriends, they don't know how to do it. When they were about to choose courses, the 3 girlfriends hoped that Zhang Yuxi could choose the same as them. Everyone rushed to take the badminton class so that they could go to class together. Later, Zhang Yuxi thought about it and gave up the dance and yoga classes and chose the badminton class. After all, she also wanted to have roommates and best friends together, so that she could have a companion during class. The class bell just rang. The badminton teacher asked them to gather and line up. Roll call is about to be taken. Quick. Gather. The badminton teacher said. Then the students lined up one after another. Report, teacher. There was a group of students who had just come up and were late. Don't you have a sense of time? What about being late last time? The badminton teacher said with a serious face. The students who arrived later didn't dare to speak. Run around the field 10 times. Right now. If you don't want to run, deduct 2 integrity points. Choose it yourself. The badminton teacher said. Then the students who arrived later started running around the field without hesitation. No one wants to be deducted integrity points, because if the deduction is to a certain extent, it will affect the graduation certificate. It is not easy to earn credit points. You must participate in activities and win prizes. Club activities are also fine, but since running can solve the problem, then run harder. It is better than having credit points deducted. Damn. Teacher Li Qing is a bit fierce today. Fortunately we were not late just now. Xiaoyu said. The badminton teacher is a male teacher named Li Qing. He is quite humorous during class, and he will practice like his classmates. He is not arrogant at all. But the only thing is that he doesn't like his classmates to be late. He thinks this is a matter of principle. It's a matter of time concept, so his class requires you to arrive on time. You can arrive early but not late. Lateness is not allowed, otherwise there will be corresponding punishment. After all, time is very important. People are racing against time all their lives. If you don't develop a good sense of time now, you will need to punch in on time every day when you enter society. There will also be corresponding punishments for being late, such as deducting money, etc. Therefore, Teacher Lee will be relatively strict with students in this area of time. Some small punishments were also passed to teach late students a lesson. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.